I feel like that should be playing a whole like cinematic montage of like you guys like pictures and shit from all your shows.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, kind of be rolling in the background and kind of do it that way. So yeah, sorry about that. But I'm gonna shut up and drop down. So Metalheads Unite is back. Welcome.
Oh yeah. Dan Smeriglio, everybody.
Streaming out to many places and melting all your faces.
Yep. We're like the Ark of the Covenant. You can't look right at it or your face will melt off.
Mm-hmm. Man.
That may or may not be true. I don't know. So
that's just rumors.
Yeah, try it at your own risk. So.
Yeah, man.
And our buddy Victor's already here.
Oh wow, cool.
Good morning, Victor.
We have a lot of stuff to power through today, man. It's been a crazy week with news and man, like I had already like so it was so crazy. It's like I already had everything prepared on Thursday night. So usually that's what I do. So all I have to do on Friday is kind of go through my album reviews, so I can, get a good couple listens out of them, so I can actually give a decent review. And like so much happened yesterday, it was just unreal. It's like, I didn't even go back and like do it. Tour announcements was the main thing. Like I didn't even go back and correct anything. I said, well, Chris usually takes care of it anyway. So. I just had the 3 or 4 that I usually do, but one of the biggest announcements was yesterday. I was just like, wow, that's a big ass tour. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So.
Yeah, I'm actually right there with you. I'm actually kind of hoping, like as far as the hit in the road segment goes, I kind of hope I covered everything. So I'm kind of. I'm only about 98% positive that I snagged all of the tours that were announced this week. So I'm hoping like between the two of us we got them all, because like you say, there was a lot of stuff that came out, and it kind of came out all in like not really. It didn't really come out like in a steady stream. It really kind of came out all at once. So that's what I'm saying. I kind of hope.
I know when I was going through everything, I got to I got to a page and I was just like, well, it's probably done. And then I click onto the next page and I said, oh, there's another tour. Damn.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy how fast the tours were being announced. And then, like you said, even the amount of current event stuff we have this week is actually a little bit more than normal. But I mean, that's going to happen sometimes.
When I get 5 or 6 stories, it's pretty hefty. So
yeah, I actually think you do. I think you actually do have more current events news than I do this week.
And there was actually some stuff that came out yesterday. I could have added, and I was just like, I don't know, man. It's like we already got a lot going on. So, but we'll definitely.
Well, maybe we can we just headline it. At least we can do.
Yeah,
that.
well, I mean, I still got Loudwire pulled up. So if we don't, if neither one of us hit on it, then we'll talk about it. But
okay, that's fine.
It didn't like the thing that surprises me is Metallica. Like the album's not even out yet, and like every damn body's headline was Metallica's new song. It's like, damn, that's freaking like the biggest news, really. I'm just like, but
I think as far as this week goes, from a purely musical standpoint, I would say Metallica's new single probably stole the show. But I mean, as far as the concert tours are concerned, we know who took that one. So
well, yeah. But I think the song was more of the content of the song is probably why it's mostly out there. So and I ain't got no problem with that. So, but I'm actually. We don't usually start these shows with kind of a PSA, but so much has happened this week outside of metal that I think that I want to like touch on it just a little.
That's fine.
But being in wrestling for so long, I can't go without talking about Jay Briscoe from the Briscoe brothers passing away earlier this week. it's a sad situation. A father is on his way to take his 2 girls to cheerleading practice and gets hit head on. We still don't know the actual, what actually happened. They didn't, the toxicity report, none of that stuff came out, so we don't really know if the woman passed out at the wheel or she just lost control. We don't know, but I mean, it just shows to show you that things can happen in a blink of an eye. So we need to take each day with the, as it could be the last, because you just never know. But I hate to be be more morbid the first thing on the show, but
actually, it's not. Of course, it's a sad situation, but between Briscoe passing away and obviously here locally, I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure you probably heard, but
that's what I was building into.
There was a traffic accident yesterday morning just north of town where Jason and I both live, and I was actually on my way to work when I actually came upon the traffic jam. I didn't see the accident scene itself because I turned around so I could get to work on time. But one of my coworkers was actually in the traffic jam and drove by the accident site, and 3 people unfortunately lost their lives there. So to kind of echo what you just said, I mean, you never know. I mean, you can never be 100% prepared for something like that. Like I say, we don't know what happened. I don't know.
Well, there was an eyewitness to the one.
I don't know what was involved. I have no idea. So
there was an eyewitness to the one here in town saying that the blue car was speeding, going northbound, and then I don't know if they lost control or if they were just weaving in and out. I don't know what exactly happened that caused them to go into the other southbound lane, but to me, it's just people slow down, man. Like, we're in machinery that can take your life. I mean, people need to realize that. You either have to live with taking someone else's life, or you lose your own. So it's best just to be safe as possible out there. So we can't control everybody, but we want you guys to be around. So
yeah, well, I mean, people. I mean, we as people in general don't do a good enough job sometimes, looking out for each other, and driving that corridor like you and I do. You not so much lately since you get to work from home, but I drive that road every day, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to find out that Camaro was driving erratically, lost control, and then that's what ultimately led to the crossing the median. Because like I say, I didn't see the accident scene yesterday morning, but I drove home that way, and there's you can see the evidence of the skid marks, the damage to the median. There's still car parks in the median.
Yeah.
So
somebody estimated he was doing anywhere from 80 to 100. So I mean, you got to think about it. People were doing 60 down that road normally. Yeah, so and it's a 55, so 60 is not too crazy, but 80 and a 55 is a little too much. So.
And I've seen it. We've all seen it. Whether you live here or anywhere else, we've all seen it. There's always that one that's got to that's always in a hurry. There's always that one. And
I always say, put this out there too, as people say, oh, well, that won't happen to me. I said, well, I'm sure those people thought that too. So, and now they're not here.
And there's that expression, famous last words, so there it is.
Right.
So the people driving southbound, who knows where they were going? They may have been on their way to work. They were an older couple. So I don't, yes. I mean,
I'm not sure what they were doing.
Hell, they may have been, like I say, just speculating, but at the same time, I mean, hell, they may have been on their way to, they may have been retired. They may have just been trying to enjoy their day, and now they can't, So I mean, it's just, it sucks. It sucks for the Briscoe family. It sucks for the family of the people here.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why we compared. That's kind of why we compared that, because the community there, in Delaware, I think is where those guys are from. So that community there is definitely hurt over the fact that, two kids involved are actually in critical condition, and they're improving, daily, thankfully. But they're going to be a 9 and 12-year-old little girl that's got to grow up without their father now because,
right,
because of somebody being negligent,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So
good morning,
yeah,
good morning, Ace. It's good to see you again. Finally, thank you for thanks for joining us. It's been a minute.
But yeah, we just want to make everybody out there to kind of be wary of your surroundings and kind of watch out for each other, man. It's we're all in this together, and if to me though, it's like I've always been that kind of person where I'm not going to rush to get anywhere. If I try to be on time for everything I do, but if I'm running behind on something, I'm not going to try to rush to make it up. I'm just going to either reschedule what I got going on. If I'm going to work, I'm just going to use, they give us time for a reason. So, I'm just going to use that time or, whatever. But yeah, being in a hurry is not always going to end up in the best results. So,
yeah. Well, you know me, and you can ask my wife. I leave stupid early for everything.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I learned real quick. If you tell Chris at a certain time, he's there probably 30 minutes before that. So,
so I usually am. I do.
Which is fine.
I leave way early for shit whenever possible. I hate being late. Ugh, I hate being late.
Yeah, I'm always, I was always the person that. I was late a lot to work and stuff because of the traffic and stuff traveling to Franklin every day when I worked, in the pharmacy business. So it was a little bit different, but like I said, we had the time though, so I wasn't going to stress anything. I was just going to get there when I got there and then use my personal time that they give me. So that's the thing is, I understand like all companies don't do that, but if the company doesn't is not compassionate about you being there safely, then maybe that job's not for you. So
it's a possibility.
Yeah, Victor, I'm sure you got to be there super early being in the business that you're in. So I remember I remember being in the construction business, and it was hey, when the sun's up, man, you better be on the job site. So
right, yeah, I was about to,
as soon as you could see, you're there. So.
Yeah, Victor's probably at work before the sun comes up every day. I guarantee you he is.
But like I said, we don't start stuff with PSAs, but I just feel like that was something we needed to touch on. Being that it happened, to someone, that we know in the community or somebody that's known throughout the wrestling world. So either or, it's a sad situation. So, and people lost their lives, so we have to keep that in mind when we're out there. And I don't understand why people. To me, I feel like that the police aren't doing as monitoring the traffic as much as they used to. Like I hardly ever see them out doing anything like that anymore. And I mean, it could be short staff or something. I understand that, but you also got to think, well, if you're out there writing tickets, making money for the department, you could hire more people.
That's true too. That's true.
So
well, here's
kind of pros and cons. So I really think the thing with that is mostly because of they're just so afraid of pulling anybody over anymore because everybody's got their fucking camera out when they were in the wrong to begin with. A cop didn't just pull you over because he wanted to pull you over. You did something wrong, and then you're going to pull your camera out to try to be fucking Perry Mason. So
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of goes behind it, but I still think that they can do a better job of out there patrolling the traffic. So
here's the funny thing about it is even if they aren't necessarily because anyone listening locally, like here in the Middle Tennessee area, anyone who's listening locally knows the reputation that Spring Hill has, or at least
Mm-hmm.
used to have. The thing about Spring Hill, Tennessee was you do not speed through there.
Nope.
You don't.
I've been pulled over many times going through there. So.
Yeah, so Spring Hill had the reputation is like you speed through there, you're getting a ticket if they catch you. So, but here's the thing: is even if they aren't actively pulling people over, because like I was driving home from Spring Hill yesterday because I had to get my tires rotated. So I mean, I was driving through town on my way home. There's a spot where it goes from 45 to 35 when you get into the older part of town. Well, I was coming through there and there was a police officer sitting in one of the church parking lots, and I looked down and I was slowing down coming into that area. But when I passed him, I was going 42. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I was technically going 7 over. He never moved, but I was working on slowing down. But it's not so much that, to me, I don't think it needs to be so much that they just pick people off left and right and are constantly giving out tickets. If there would be more of a visible presence,
right?
I think if they were just more visible, if people know that they're actually around, I think that would help. I think that would at least help.
So somebody that witnessed the accident yesterday, like I said, this is just hearsay. I wasn't there. But if this is the case, then we're probably going to be hearing more about this story, I'm sure. But they said that car was speeding through the Annapolis area, and he passed two cops in a parking lot through that area. So I mean, if you're already speeding like that, you pass there, and they didn't do anything, then I mean, there's probably going to be some liability there, unfortunately, for the city. So,
and especially since
yeah, go ahead.
He does live in You're gonna answer his question.
Technically,
he lives in Leapers Fork, which is just outside of Franklin. Victor, to answer your question, but yeah, and I was about to say that they actually, because I know you know this, but they actually knocked the speed limit down in Minneapolis from 55 to 45. Mm-hmm. But I never see anybody getting pulled over on that stretch of highway either. So I mean, they can drop the speed limits down, but if they don't enforce it, it's like the hands-free bullshit. It's like the hands-free thing. You're not supposed to drive with your phone in your hand in this state anymore. But get on any interstate.
Somebody's on their phone.
Get on any multiple lane road in this state. You're going to drive by somebody doing this. Mm-hmm. It happens every day. I mean, you can ask my brother. You can ask my brother. He actually got tagged for it, but they don't enforce it enough. I guarantee you they don't.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that Jim Cornette brought up, talking about Jay Briscoe was we'll never know because the woman's not there to tell what happened and or why she hit somebody. So that's the unfortunate part is we will never know exactly what happened. He said, toxicology report could come back clean, and then we still don't have an answer. So, and then he says, and that's the first thing he said. He said, I would like to know where her phone was at. If they found the phone in the floorboard or something like that, then you pretty much can almost guarantee she was on the damn phone. So, but.
Ace, you're right about that. Yeah, you're right.
But anyway, right. we will digress and get into what we're here for. So, but I just thought that was something that needed to be brought up, especially if it happened, like I said, locally and nationally. So, it was kind of something that was on my mind. So, and I apologize if I got way too out there with it, but we will get back into the normality of the show. So whatever that may be, but
well, I mean, as far as I can tell, this has been a normal show the whole time. We just vented
on the front end.
Right. Yeah. We got off on the tangent right away. Exactly. Yeah. That's right.
But yeah, so like I said, we do have a lot to get through, so we probably should just jump into this thing and get rolling. Got a lot of stuff to go over. Like I said, hitting the road, and we got the little special list that we want to do for you guys this week, and then don't forget next week we have our first guest of the year on Spillage, band out of Chicago. Yes. So looking forward to that. So
very, very excited for that.
So the content may be a little bit less next week just because of that, but we'll get as much as we can. So, we're going to roll out to like normal and start off with some birthdays here from the 15th through the 21st. January 15th, we had Carl McCoy, vocalist for Fields of Nephilim. Adam Jones, bassist for Tool. We skipped over to the 17th. We had Kai Hansen, guitarist and vocalist for Halloween and Gamma Ray. We had Alex Varkats. I can never say his name. Alex Varkatzas or something. I don't remember. I don't know how to actually.
It's I think it's Varkatzis, but
Varkatzis. That's probably that sounds about right. He's a vocalist for Atreyu. We have Simone Simons, vocalist for Epica. And then the 18th, we had Jonathan Davis, vocalist for Korn, and Quinn Allman, guitarist for The Used. The 19th, we had Janis Joplin. Of course, she passed away in 1970. I thought it was relevant to talk about her since we always talk about the people, the icons that kind of paved the road for some of the music we listen to now. So you can't go without mentioning, people. What was so crazy about this is I was thinking about this when I wrote that is it's so sad that people of that era, mainly her and mainly Jimi Hendrix, that never made it to 30. It kind of says what it needs to about that era of music. So,
yeah.
And then also
Jim Morrison didn't make it.
Right. Jim Morrison. Yeah. So it's sad, sad that those artists never made it past that age. So. Also on the 19th, we had Rod Evans, vocalist for Deep Purple. We had Jeff Pilson. We talk about people with a extensive resume. I don't know if you get much better than Jeff Pilson. He was a bassist for Dokken from 83 to 88, and then rejoined in 95 to 2000. Then he played with Dio from 93 to 04, and now he's playing with Foreigner since 2006. So I mean, those aren't small bands to be playing with. So.
Nope.
We also on the 19th had Whitfield Crane, vocalist for Ugly Kid Joe. And then we get into the 20th, where I think everybody was born. But we had January 20th, we had Ian Hill, bassist for Judas Priest. Paul Stanley, of course, guitarist, songwriter, and vocalist for Kiss. We had Greg Kressel, bassist for The Offspring from 84 to 2018. We had Tracy Guns, guitarist and songwriter for LA Guns. Sid Wilson, a turntablist, keyboardist, synthesizer, all that good stuff for Slipknot. Rob Borden, drummer for Linkin Park. Matthew Tuck, guitarist and vocalist for Bullet for My Valentine. Derek Green, vocalist for Sepultura. So that was all on the 20th. So I mean, tell me that's not a list of, and I'm talking about big band list too. So.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, January 21st, we had Cordell Crockett, bassist for Ugly Kid Joe. So we had a couple of Ugly Kid Joe mentions this week. So kind of interesting. So happy birthday to all of those.
Not to mention you had one.
Oh, I got a couple. So I had my sister-in-law Christy had a birthday on the 18th. She tends to go to a few shows with us throughout the year. So actually, she's going to the Non-Point show later on this year with us. So happy birthday to her. And then of course my daughter Alyssa had a birthday as well on the 19th. So happy birthday to those as well. So I always like to give a shout out to the. So.
Very, very cool. Yep. Happy birthday to all.
Yeah. Oh, and also, don't let me forget, my sister Katrina, her daughter Peyton had a birthday as well on the 19th, which is kind of interesting that we're sister. That's my sister, and we both had daughters on the 19th. So kind of odd. But
oh, yeah. Yeah, kind of weird how that works out.
Yeah. So, but happy birthday to all of those. And like I said, if I miss anybody, I apologize. And anybody out there listening had a birthday this week, happy birthday to you as well. So, all right. So I guess we can kick into this massive news week.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's not going to be a good start out. So,
no, it's not.
From either one of us, honestly. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. All right. Well, before we get into this, just to reply to a comment here, Victor, a rail system, in Nashville and maybe branching out into a little bit of Middle Tennessee wouldn't be the worst idea, but how they implement that into the infrastructure is way beyond me. So,
Yeah.
on the face of it, it's not a horrible idea, but who knows?
Well, I mean, they had been talking about doing a subway type downtown. So
Yeah.
which never got approved because it was so expensive and it was only going like 3 miles or something stupid for billions of dollars. And they were just like, yeah, it's not worth the money to only go 3 miles. So
yeah. So I mean, we'll see. But all right. So kicking off this week over at blabbermouth.net, and kind of the same vein that Jason was talking about with Janis Joplin, we're going back to a musician's whose career started like 6 decades ago. So to say that he probably had some sort of influence in the evolution of hard rock, and is probably a little bit of an understatement. So
right.
So leading off this week over at blabbermouth.net, David Crosby, a founding member of the Byrds and Crosby, Stills and Nash, later Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, has died. He was 81 years old. His wife released a statement writing, quote, "It is with great sadness after a long illness that our beloved David Crosby has passed away. He was lovingly surrounded by his wife and soulmate Jan and son Django." Yeah, spelled exactly the same as the movie. So although he is no longer here, although he is no longer here with us, his humanity and kind soul will continue to guide and inspire us. His legacy will continue to live on through his legendary music. Peace, love, and harmony to all who knew David and those he touched. We will miss him dearly. At this time, we respectfully and kindly ask for privacy as we grieve and try to deal with our profound loss. Thank you for the love and prayers, end quote. In Crosby's unparalleled 6-decade career, the native Californian has created songs that resonate as indelible cultural touchstones for more than 3 generations, not only as a solo artist, but as a founding member of the Byrds in the mid-'60s, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, recipients of the Grammy for Best New Artist in 1969, and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. He's collaborated with dozens of artists, including Joni Mitchell, James Taylor, Pink Floyd's David Gilmour, Phil Collins, Elton John, and Carole King. The folk rock pioneer, who was inducted into the prestigious Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2009, has also served as our social conscience, not only eloquently writing about societal issues on such things as Almost Cut My Hair and Wooden Ships, but continuously donating concert proceeds to like-minded causes. His towering influence and brilliant ability to capture the spirit of our times in his music remains undiminished. Throughout Crosby's career, from its beginnings in the socially conscious burgeoning California folk scene in the early 1960s, his surprising views on gun control, his recovery from drug abuse and deteriorating health, and his influence on a whole new generation of folk-oriented singers and songwriters, he has remained an icon of counterculture, an advocate for social responsibility, and a thorn in the side of hypocrites of all stripes. Crosby played at some of rock's most culturally significant concerts, including the Monterey Pop Festival, Woodstock, and the Altamont Free Concert. In 2019, filmmaker Cameron Crowe made a documentary of Crosby's life and music called David Crosby, Remember My Name. And the funny thing is that's all that Blabbermouth has for this story. But when you consider, like they said, he's got a 6-decade career, I seriously doubt they hardly. Right. I'm sure they hardly touched on it. So, like I say, not necessarily, I'm sure some of you out there are probably like, what the hell does David Crosby have to do with metal? Well, directly, honestly, maybe not much. But like we've always said, the music that we listen to now had to come from somewhere. There had to be a jumping off point. And when someone has been involved in music for 6 decades, there's especially, rock and roll like this, there's probably, I think it's probably pretty safe to say that there's probably no way he didn't have some influence somewhere down the line. So, like I say, some of you out there are probably like, well, I don't know why they're talking about this on a heavy metal podcast. Well, that's why. Because everything evolves to where we're at now. So So that would be why. Disagree with it, agree with it. That's fine. That's totally fine. That's kind of what this forum is about. It's for information and all this stuff. So I mean, if anybody takes a little bit of exception with some of the content we talk about, that's fine. That's totally fine. If anybody wants to share their feedback, that's also fine too. We have plenty of ways, to do that. So, we've got our friends in the chat here. We've got, emails and stuff like that. So feel free to let us know how you feel. It's totally fine.
Sorry, I know that we had some difficulties this morning trying to get everything rolling, so we had to get the boss to get us started. So I'm trying to share it out to some of the places that it didn't go out to. So you got emails, all right. All right. I guess I'm going to carry on the sadness of the news stories here. Over from Loudwire, Bruce Gowers, a renowned film director who worked on Queen's legendary video for Bohemian Rhapsody and many others, has passed away at 82. Gowers originally started directing videos in his home country, of England, but after Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody bolstered his career and notoriety, he relocated to the U.S. in the 1970s. He directed several more Queen videos and also worked with the Rolling Stones, Genesis, Alice Cooper, Journey, Kansas, Styx, Rush, Michael Jackson, Prince, Santana, Kiss, REO Speedwagon, and many others. But it was Bohemian Rhapsody that paved the way for music videos to become as massive as they did. It changed the way music was perceived. Everyone was doing videos, and bands were seeing their sales and chart positions rise if their videos were good. Gowers told Daily Mail a few years ago, adding that he was only paid $590 for directing the video. It's the first video that actually took any kind of effect into actually making sales. A lot of videos were probably made before, but they didn't sell records. I think that's the first that actually worked, Freddie Mercury said of the video on an episode of Queen's Making History series on YouTube. From working on music videos, Gowers' resume expanded to directing television specials and shows, award shows, documentaries, and beyond. American Idol was one of the more notable shows he worked on, which he directed from 2002 to 2011. The Hollywood Reporter confirmed that Gowers died Sunday, January 15th, due to complications from an acute respiratory infection. We send our condolences to his loved ones. Rest in peace. So yeah, just another, an icon on the other side of the axe. Like we always say, there's always somebody on the other side making the axe look good. So, so he definitely did that. He definitely did that. So, I said, unfortunately, he passed away, and so we lost another. Like I said, Queen was another one of those bands where I think kind of kickstarted the hard rock, scene, and then like I said, they weren't single handedly the culprit, but there was they were definitely one of the bands. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think they're, and I mean, and the funny thing is, I mean, the other three members of the band are still around. Adam Lambert's, been singing, but I mean, Queen is still around. I mean, we talk about David Crosby and his 6-decade career. I think you're talking at least 5 decades for Queen,
right?
And they're still around, and they're still relevant. So.
Mm-hmm. And you can say the same with like some of the other bands that were mentioned with Kiss and Aerosmith, and
right? Yeah, absolutely.
Bands like that they're still around and kicking it. Of course,
Rolling Stones.
Kiss hasn't had anything new come out in a long time, but
yeah.
That tells you about their career, though. You're still touring, and you don't have to come out with anything new to sell out. So
exactly, yeah.
So that lets you know about their music right there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, staying over at Blabbermouth, founding Screaming Trees bassist Van Conner has died at age 55. The news of his passing was announced on Wednesday, January 18th in a Facebook post by Van's brother, Screaming Trees guitarist Gary Lee Conner. Gary wrote, quote, Van Conner, bassist and songwriter of Screaming Trees, died last night of an extended illness at 55. It was pneumonia that got him in the end. He was one of the closest friends I ever had, and I loved him immensely. I will miss him forever and ever and ever." End quote. Van formed Screaming Trees in 1985 in Ellensburg, Washington, with Gary, singer Mark Lanigan, and drummer Mark Pickrell. After the band's initial breakup in 2000, Van continued to write, produce, and record music with his friends and family. Screaming Trees were considered to be one of the pioneers of the Seattle grunge movement in the 1990s, along with the Melvins, Mudhoney, Soundgarden, and more. The band released 7 albums, 5 EPs, and 3 compilation albums. Screaming Trees' single "Nearly Lost You" was featured in the movie Singles and cracked the top 5 of the Billboard Modern Rock chart. Lanigan died last February at the age of 57. So again, not heavy metal per se, but kind of had an indirect influence on the way heavy metal ended up going when grunge came around. Kind of made heavy metal, kind of check themselves in the mirror and be like, all right, we need to kind of do something to keep up with this, or it's going to leave us behind. And say what you want, there are some genres of heavy metal that really never recovered. So good, bad, or otherwise, I mean, grunge had an influence on heavy metal. Yeah. So.
And people can say what they want to, but in my opinion, Pantera saved a lot of metal bands from that era. So,
yep.
Victor,
I was just gonna say I would have a hard time seeing somebody making an argument against that. Pantera, Pantera being one of the groups who potentially saved heavy metal in general in the mid 90s. I totally agree.
Yeah, Victor said, when the icons of rock and roll and heavy metal are gone, who's going to fill those spots? Will the new bands be ready for it?
That is a great question.
We've kind of touched on that before, Victor, with with Alyssa White, coming out and saying something similar to that last year. We were talking about how there's a lot of younger bands, but I think the thing that you miss now that you had with like Metallica and Guns N' Roses in the early late 80s, early 90s is the media getting behind the band, which now they're too focused on trying to bury somebody politically than to push a band. But so that's a good question, and I hopefully I guess the marketing's a lot different now than it was in the 80s and 90s, because you didn't have streaming platforms and stuff back then that you do now. So it's easy to come up on a band and be like, oh, they could be the next big thing, and then going back to the grunge era, you could take Silverchair, for instance. When they came out, everybody thought that was going to be the next big thing, since Nirvana, and it didn't play out. So, you got to have a backing of some kind, whether it be independently or label wise. But yeah, I think there's a lot of bands with the potential to take the reins, but whether they're around in 20 years to do so, that's the question. So
yeah, it also doesn't help. It also doesn't help that like the channels that used to be the source of our music videos don't play music videos anymore and haven't forever. MTV's more concerned now about
reality TV,
reality TV and all this other bullshit, and they haven't played music in forever, and VH1 is just as bad. So, so I mean, unless you sit down and kind of
go down a rabbit hole on YouTube.
Yeah, right. Unless you sit around for a few hours and scour YouTube and stuff like that, or listen to shows like ours. I mean, it's kind of hard to really kind of find out who's new and to kind of see who the next big thing could potentially be. I mean, that, like Jason has said multiple times, that's kind of one of the things that we wanted to do with this show. I mean, we want to talk about our favorite metal band. Sure, that's what we want to talk about. But at the same time, even with what we do, we don't really even scratch the surface on the amount of music that's out there in this genre. So, I mean, we try to do the best we can, and thankfully, we do have friends like Victor who have their own channels that they kind of take care of, and we work together with Victor to share new bands and stuff like that. He points us in the direction of of a lot of musical groups from South America, from Peru and stuff like that. And, we've got Dana at Metal and Tats. So, I mean, we do have friends that help us. We all work together the best we can, but there's only so much we can do. And, it's because like Jason also said, we're not a label, we're not a TV channel and stuff like that. So, I mean, unless you got something that's got like a lot more reach than we have, and we actually have a greater reach than than we kind of thought we would have this soon into the process. We do so much, so unfortunately.
Yeah, I almost feel like the Avengers, where they say, "Oh, well, I have this CBS or an MTV behind me." Yeah, we have a Dan.
We do have it. Yeah, we do have a Dan.
All right.
I tell you what, I would go into battle with our Dan probably over a lot more other people any day of the week.
Oh, for sure. So I'm gonna stay with Loudwire, but I'm gonna kind of switch subjects for a second. But Korn's beloved third studio album, Follow the Leader, will celebrate its 25th anniversary later this year. And in commemoration of the milestone, the band has released a special Hip Dot makeup palette that looks like a CD case. The packaging for the makeup palette is a jewel case that has the Follow the Leader album art on it, along with Hip Dot's logo. The makeup pigments are located inside the case, where the actual disc would be positioned around a circle like a wheel. Most of the shades are dark and earthy, but some have a matte finish, while others are shimmery. Each color is named after a song on the album: Seed, My Gift to You, Dead Bodies Everywhere, Pretty, Freak on a Leash, Got the Life, Children of the Corn, and It's On. We've teamed up with Hip Dot to create an exclusive Follow the Leader CD makeup palette ahead of the 25th anniversary this summer, the band wrote in a tweet. This palette consists of 8 amazing tracks of various pigmented textures. Our Korn and Hip Dot Follow the Leader collection is vegan, free of harmful ingredients, certified cruelty-free, and curated to embrace all skin tones. The $22 palette is already sold out, but you can sign up for a restock at this location to be notified when it's available again. Additionally, you can purchase a pin set for $18. If you want to get all that info, you can. Actually, it's on Korn's website. If you want to go over and look pretty like Korn, I guess. What's weird is like Evanescence is doing the same thing, so it's kind of odd that two bands that have been touring together are doing the same thing. But I guess maybe that's something they can take on tour with themselves.
And in the exact same format, because Evanescence's thing is it's in a jewel case. So, the palette, the colors are separated in a palette that's in the format of a CD. So they're doing the exact same thing in the exact same format. It's actually kind of weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
But I saw that.
Maybe they're going to it's kind of go to Hip Dot and buy 2 for 1 or something.
There you go. Yeah. But it's cool because I don't see any reason why there shouldn't be makeup for the female heavy metal fans. I don't see no reason. I don't see any reason for it at all.
Or male.
They're not.
We don't judge. Or male. We don't.
Well,
judge.
Hey, whatever you're into, man. Sure. Whatever you're into. I mean, hell, Bret Michaels may need to update his look.
Right. Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, you never know, man. Never know. All right. Going over to the PRP.com for my next one. And we're hoping that this is the last. We're hoping that this is the last one we have to talk about for this week like this. But TJ Deblois, original drummer for defunct Philadelphia-based groove metalcore band A Life Once Lost, has passed away. He was active with the band from 99 until departing in 2002 and appeared on their debut album, Open Your Mouth for the Speechless, In Case of Those Appointed to Die, and their 2001 EP, The Fourth Plague, Flies. Word of his passing was shared by co-founding A Life Once Lost guitarist Vaden Taver. Speaking on January 18th on social media, Taver commented, quote, "I can't believe I'm writing this just 2 weeks after losing another friend. I met TJ Deblois at a show in 1998 and decided immediately I needed to be in a band with him, and we formed A Life Once Lost very briefly after. We spent countless hours hanging out, going to shows, writing music, playing shows, sitting in a van together. I have so many things I can say about him, but for now I'll just say that his musical talent was beyond words. Even at 14, I know he was someone special, and I have really great and fond memories of him. Aside from ALOL, he has made great music with Like Lions, Halfway to Holland, Zoloft, the R&R Destroyer, Colors, and countless others. Sending much love to his family and kids. You will be missed, my friend," end quote. Outside of A Life Once Lost, TJ also performed with Like Lions, Zoloft, the Rock and Roll Destroyer, and more. So, and it doesn't say how old TJ is, but all of the if any of the pictures are recent. In this picture, he wasn't probably very much older than maybe his mid 40s. I don't know, but like I say, I'm not trying to speculate how old he was because it doesn't say. So, but
what did it say he died from?
It didn't say.
I didn't think it did, so that's what I was kind of.
Yeah, no, it did. It didn't. All I know for sure is that he either passed away on the 17th or the 18th. So I don't know how old he was, and don't know the cause of death. So if I find out, we'll let you guys know. But
I kind of think it was odd and weird that that most of the things that we talked about, people passing away today, was upper respiratory or pneumonia. So it's kind of odd. That may be something Dan can dig into on PolitiShot, but
maybe.
But definitely strange. Of course, you're in their 80s too, so if you ever catch anything like that, it's pretty hard to come back from at that age. But
I'm not exactly sure what David Crosby's illness was, but that's what his wife said it had taken its toll on him. So.
All right. Well, I'm sticking with Loudwire over here. Motley Crue were formed by Nikki Sixx on January 17th, 1981. And to celebrate over 4 decades of their legendary career, Loudwire Nights is giving you an exclusive chance to win a box set of the band's first 5 albums on colored vinyl. You'll have from the 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern until Monday, January 23rd at 3 p.m. Eastern to enter the contest. One lucky winner will be chosen to receive a limited edition Crucial Crew, the studio albums, 1981 through 1989 box set, which includes Too Fast for Love from 81, Shout Out the Devil from 83, Theater of Pain from 85, Girls, Girls, Girls from 87, and Dr. Feelgood from 89 on different colored splatter print vinyl. You can tune in on Loudwire Nights. I'm looking at the screen up here. I'm looking at Metal Hammer and read at the same time. So there we go.
Yep.
Tune in to Loudwire Nights at 7 p.m. Eastern to hear a special feature about the band, as well as 3 songs from their debut album, Too Fast for Love. Loudwire Nights with Tony Gonzalez airs nightly starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can tune in anytime by downloading the Loudwire app. So there you go. So if you're interested in that, you can go over to Loudwire or to Motley Crue's site and enter to win that. I think there was a link over at Motley Crue's site as well. So
yeah, some of those colored vinyl sets that have been coming out lately are very, very cool. Yeah,
pretty cool looking. I actually tried to get a special edition album like that, and for some reason it didn't. I think it was one of those deals where I wasn't high enough on the chain to get, so I got left out. But
yeah, see, I hate that too.
Yeah. So hopefully I get the Pantera thing, because like I said, I did that as soon as it was mentioned. I logged in and bought it just so I'd make sure I didn't get left out this time. But you can never tell.
Yeah. You've had some bad luck with some of this collectible stuff. I mean, even some of your Funkos that you tried to buy, you kind of didn't, you weren't able to get in time, which.
I actually got the Judas Priest, the one that just got released in December. I pre-ordered it in July. Still haven't seen it. so I actually Yeah, so I actually went back and reordered it from Funko themselves, and so I'm probably done with pre-ordering anything from Amazon. So that kind of burnt me right there, and and from my career, that's kind of kind of hard for me to
Yeah,
do. So
yeah, kind of doubly frustrating.
it is, yeah. It's, especially when you see the opposite side of the fence where you can see
Yeah.
you can see why people aren't getting their stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Right.
so old sayings, you can take a horse to water, you can't make him drink. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, keeping it over at prp.com. Catatonia have announced that Nico Elgstrand of Entombed AD, etc., will be filling in on bass for them on their impending European tour. Elgstrand will be taking over for Catatonia co-founder Anders Nystrom, who will be missing the trek for quote-unquote personal family reasons. Nystrom issued the statement below on the matter today, which was January 19th. Quote, hey everyone, Anders here. Tomorrow, Friday the 20th, we launched Catatonia's brand new 12th album, and we can't wait to hear all your thoughts. Like I say, that's one of the new releases that came out that I planned on listening to, so I'm hoping to get to that one. The band's eager to get out on the road and start the tour, but unfortunately, I won't be able to join them on this leg due to personal family reasons. However, good news is that we have a highly competent replacement in Mr. Nico Elgstrand of Entombed AD, who already filled in for me on an earlier occasion and did an amazing job. So rest easy, the tour will not be affected in any way, and everything the band has planned surely is something you don't want to miss. Until I'll be back on stage later this spring, I wish the guys and all our fans a great time on the road under a sky void of stars, end quote. The Swedish progressive metal quintet are set to drop their 12th studio album, Sky Void of Stars, tomorrow, January 20th. Of course, at this point, that was yesterday.
mm-hmm.
Their European UK tour with Solstafir and SOM will kick off tomorrow as well, running as follows. The tour dates are at the bottom, and that is a tour that I know that we definitely already talked about in the Hit and the Road segment. So that sucker kicked off last night, and the second show is tonight in Helsinki. So that tour is off and running. So hopefully Anders, whatever he's got going on, doesn't linger too long and he can get back on tour. But it is good to know that they have they've got someone to fill in for him, somebody that they know and trust. So
yeah, that's a good thing. So
that is a good thing.
I'll always worry about that when you kind of like I'm fixing to do a segue off of that story right now, but it's always good to know that they keep it going for the fans. So.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is over from Loudwire as well, and like I said, kind of to segue off of that, it's a quote, "Hey, what did you do tonight?" "Well, I flew to Idaho, and the plane went in a ditch." End quote. Begins Anthrax bassist Frank Bello in an Instagram video recounting his experience on a recent American Airlines flight just one day before the start of the band's tour with Black Label Society in Exodus. As reported by Fox 26, American Airlines Flight 2990 left Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas on Monday night, en route to Boise, Idaho. Upon landing, the Boeing 737 carrying 168 passengers and 6 crew members skidded off the runway and crossed into a gravel surface adjacent to the taxiway while taxiing toward the terminal, the airline company told Fox television stations in a statement. Quote, "Good times, yeah, and it's a great way to start a tour. Can't wait to play tomorrow night. Can you imagine this shit? Apparently the plane went into a ditch on landing. Isn't that great? I've been on that plane for freaking 3 hours waiting," end quote, adds Bello in the video. In the caption, he writes, "Ever have one of those flights to start a tour where on landing you feel a thud and you hear the brakes screech a bit, but then you finally stop moving? The plane is a bit tilted down to the right side in the front. Well, after keeping us in the plane for 3 hours after landing, we found out we were in a ditch. Anyway, not the best way to start a tour, but I'm really looking forward to playing the first show in Idaho tonight. Good times ahead." But Bello wasn't the only one who had trouble getting to Idaho to kick off the tour. Openers Exodus got stuck on the Donner Pass, a 7,056-foot high mountain pass in the Sierra Nevada, which infamously got its name from the mid-1800s pioneer party, the Donner Party, who had to resort to cannibalism to make it through the winter, and trapped there 48 of 87 people survived. I guess we know what happened to the other ones, but
Yeah.
guitarist Gary Holt shared multiple Instagram posts to help let the fans know that Exodus would unfortunately be missing in the opening night of the tour. In his third post, the two previous ones were deleted. Holt explained that the group had been stuck on the pass, which was closed, and as a result, they had no choice but to head to Seattle to join the track at the second stop. So, unfortunately, Exodus didn't get to make the first show, but hopefully they can finish it all out. So that's kind of crazy, man. But so yeah, so you never know. Like I said, that's kind of a scary, to be on a plane and wind up going off of the runway. That'd be kind of scary there. I mean, we think about planes crashing, but there's also a lot of stuff that could happen when they're landing. So
yep. Oh yeah,
crazy. But thankfully, everybody was okay, and they get Anthrax got to perform. Unfortunately, Exodus didn't, but like I said, hopefully they won't have any more issues, and they can get on with the tour. So,
yeah.
I do think it's cool that Black Label and Anthrax are touring together, so that Charlie Benante and Zach can actually do the Pantera thing in between. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. I like how that worked out. All right. Staying at the PRP for another one. California thrash metal band Warbringer will have their complete works issued on cassette via M Theory Audio on February 10th. All 6 of the band's full-length albums will be featured among the collection, each with requisite bonus tracks. The group's early 2005 demo Born of the Ruins and their 2006 EP One by One, The Wicked Fall will also be featured in the set, which will arrive housed in a camo matchbox-style box. Pre-orders for that collection, which has been dubbed Total War, the complete cassette box set, are available now here. Obviously, there's a hyperlink in the story. Jason, you may want to hop on that one. The first half of 2023, we'll see the band out on the road and see at the following shows. And then there's a whole bunch of tour dates here, some of which you'll hear later. So here's a little bit, to save time. Here's a little bit of that packaging. There's what the
nice.
Like. So yeah, that's very cool. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I'd be on board if it came with a pack of number 2 pencils, but
so you can rewind the tapes. You kids don't.
They don't know about all that. So.
Don't know the struggle. Yeah, you don't know the struggle.
Just skip it. Yeah, we can't do that, man. It's like,
no, you can't do that.
Oh man, that would have been an awesome show, man. Warbringer with Cavalera. Oh man. Hell yeah, that would have been an awesome fucking show.
Yeah.
All right, carrying on. Metal Hammer. This one is over from there. Next month, Julian's Auctions, which you've talked about that place a lot on here, will be hosting an online bid for a vast selection of rare memorabilia owned and donated by some of the biggest names in the rock and metal and pop world. The auction will kick off in the morning of February 5th, with all proceeds set to benefit Music Cares, a nonprofit charity who work on providing a range of health and welfare services to the music community. During the event, hosted by the LA-based auction house, an eclectic mix of items will be brought to the table, including a pair of sequin Louboutin boots. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not that fancy, so that's bougie. Owned by Elton John, a drum head signed by Slipknot's Jay Weinberg, a Gibson Les Paul guitar autographed by all members of Fleetwood Mac, and other instruments signed by legends such as Slash, Ozzy Osbourne, Robert Plant, and Bob Dylan. Most items are expecting to pull in a hefty sum, with the highest priced item an original print of an oil painting created, signed, and donated by Joni Mitchell, tipped to sell for up to $20,000. The artwork depicts the famous night Jimi Hendrix set fire to his guitar at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967. That would be a pretty cool piece to have. Other pieces include originals by Van Halen frontman David Lee Roth, with his painting of a dark ocean estimated to be sold for $4,000 to $6,000. For the full item list, you can visit Julian's live auction house via their website, and check out all the stuff that they're going to have there on the 5th. So if you're a big collector, there you go. So
Yeah. All right. Let me see. Okay. And I'm actually down to, I do believe, my last one of the day. So heading over to metalinjection.net for this one.
I should have kept going.
Yeah, probably. That's all right. Metallica is raffling off a special Flying M guitar designed and built by Inventables and Highline Guitars. Aside from looking like a military weapon, the guitar is fully playable and signed by the band. The raffle benefits Metallica's All Within My Hands charity and ends on March 14th with a drawing happening on March 17th. You can enter the raffle here, hyperlink in the story. Quote, here's your chance to own a truly one-of-a-kind Metallica collectible, a band-signed custom Flying M guitar. This incredible guitar was inspired by James Hetfield's signature Flying V. It was crafted by Highline Guitars with the skilled team at Inventables using only the finest materials, including mahogany, ebony, and sheets of aluminum composite. It is also equipped with signature Kirk Hammett EMG pickups, giving it a rich, full sound that will blow you away. Your donation does more than enter you to win this rare collectible. It will support All Within My Hands and help increase funding for Metallica scholars. By donating to win this unique guitar, you will not only have a chance to own a piece of rock and roll history, but you will also positively impact the lives of students pursuing their dream careers in the skilled trades. This is your only chance to get your hands on a Metallica signed Flying M guitar and make a difference at the same time. All you have to do is donate to win, and you could take home a one-of-a-kind instrument that will become the crown jewel of any collection, end quote. And I went ahead and, just so we can all see what we're talking about here, instead of just sticking my phone up there, I decided we're going to do a screen share on this one here. So we're going to check this bitch out. So, because this thing's pretty damn cool.
Are you able to do that?
We're going to see. Actually, you know what? Considering all the issues I had this morning, I don't think I can. It says I'm sharing a window. Well, son of a bitch. Never mind. All right. So we're gonna have to do it. Gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. All right. And there it is, right there.
Yeah, I've seen the picture. That's a pretty cool guitar.
Yeah, that's cool as hell. So, yep. So custom made, autographed by the band. So,
yeah, can't beat that.
There you go. No. All right. Stop screen.
Hey, since you don't have another one, do you mind going over to Loudwire and checking out that Charlie Benante story? It just popped up there, I think, yesterday.
Sure.
Let's see. But I'll keep reading while you're looking at that. So I'm just trying to cover everything that's recent. So this one over from Metal Hammer. Iron Maiden.
I see it.
Yeah, Iron Maiden have teamed up with Bisopke not-for-profit UK Jewelers, the Guitarist, to launch a range of bracelets, necklaces, and rings made from actual guitar strings from Steve Harris, Dave Murray, and Adrian Smith and Yannick Gers have played on tour. And 100% of the profits from each item sold will go to the Heavy Metal Truants, a charity cycling club set up by Maiden's manager Rod Smallwood and former Metal Hammer editor-in-chief Alex Milas. There are 10 items in the collection, with the most expensive item being a sterling 925 silver ring made with strings played by God, I can't talk today. Made with strings played during Maiden's record-breaking Legacy of the Beast World Tour for £199. I don't know I can't remember what that translates to in American money, but the cheapest item in the range is the test tube necklace, retailing for £90, which is a guitar string coil pendant necklace created using strings played by Murray, Smith, and Gers during the same world tour. Other items in the range include the distortion bracelet, which uses twisted bass strings played by Steve Harris, leather cord, spacer beads, and an Eddie skull for £175. The riff guitar string bracelet, £160. The riff bass string bracelet, £150. The reverb bracelet, which features twisted bass strings and an Eddie skull, for £160. And the Melody sterling silver earrings for £100. So if you want to check that out, you can go to the Guitarist site there and check out some of that jewelry. Seems pretty cool. So
Well, 100 pounds is 120 is a touch under $124.
Okay. So just say about $25 extra on each of those for American money wise. So okay.
Yeah, more or less. More or less. All right. Yeah,
So,
I did. And so I did go and I did see actually some of those pieces of jewelry there. They're actually pretty damn cool.
yeah. Had some pictures over there on Metal Hammer if you want to check that out as well. So
And I did go over to Loudwire and I did see, I do have the story pulled up about Charlie Benante. So I'll go ahead and read that, knock that out real quick. Last week, thrash legends Anthrax kicked off the second leg of their 2023 North American tour alongside Black Label Society and Exodus. Unfortunately, looks like drummer Charlie Benante will be absent from a few upcoming shows due to having a quote-unquote minor procedure done, as noted by the band. So who'll be taking over while Benante recovers? None other than Derek Roddy of Hate Eternal, Aurora Borealis, Nile, and Serpent's Rise. Yesterday, January 20th, Anthrax posted the following statement to their official Facebook and Instagram pages, quote, "Our man who beats the beat, Charlie Benante, has stepped away from the tour for a few days to have a minor procedure done and will not be at the next few shows. Never fear, the formidable Derek Roddy is filling in while Charlie is away, and no worries, Charlie will be back soon. In the meantime, the metal is still heavy and the show must go on. We'll see you there," end quote. As of now, Benante hasn't said anything on social media regarding the news, but Roddy reshared Anthrax's Facebook message and added, "Well, here we go, haha," end quote. Let's see. Then, so far, both artists have received mostly positive feedback from fans. For instance, one Instagram user replied to Anthrax, quote, "Derek Roddy, fucking sick. I want all songs 28 BPM or higher. Knock that set out in 28 minutes." End quote. Another fan commented, "Hopefully Charlie has a speedy recovery and is punishing the drum kit soon." End quote. One of Roddy's Facebook followers said, quote, "Derek is going to own those songs. How much fun is that going to be?" End quote. While no specific details have been given regarding Benante's quote-unquote procedure, he has missed shows in prior years due to issues with carpal tunnel syndrome. Back in 2018, for instance, Testament's Gene Hoglan happily filled in for him during Anthrax's stint on Slayer's farewell tour. Of course, Loudwire wishes Benante a speedy recovery and a return to the stage, and Metalheads Unite will echo those sentiments. Also, be sure to check out Anthrax's upcoming tour dates. You can grab tickets here. And there, of course, is a hyperlink in the story. So,
all right. Wonder if he's getting his balls out of Carter's purse. I'm just kidding. There could be worse places. I will say it could be a lot worse places to have your balls. So.
Yep.
All right, this one over from Metal Injection. There was another story on Loudwire too. I wanted to cover too. Well, I kind of wanted to see what it was about before I covered it, but. If you want to check out the drunk woman story, I think it's 4 stories down from
Drunk Woman. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's on Loudwire too?
Yeah. It's like the next, like if you scroll, it's like the next little section down.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. If you want to read that, see if it's worth mentioning.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of interesting. Just the headline kind of got me. I was like, wonder what that's about. So, but here's some more bad news from the Big Six, little super group there from over at Metal Injection. The Big Six was originally vocalist Attila's Chris Franzak, Fit for an Autopsy's Joe Bottolato, Left to Suffer's Taylor Barber, Infant Annihilators Dickie Allen, Traders Tyler Shelton, and Lorna Shore's Will Ramos when they were unveiled in December. Then in early January, Franzak left the group and was replaced by Spike vocalist Darius Tarani. Now Battolato is out as well, as the band hasn't announced a replacement yet. Unfortunately, Joe Battolato won't be joining us moving forward. It said the Big Six in a statement on Instagram, but the train never stops rolling. We have someone special lined up for you guys to be our sixth. Tag in the link who you think it is. Your comments mean a lot to us, so if you want to do that, you can go over to their Instagram page and do that. But who knows if this means the Big Six will put out previously recorded material featuring both Franzak and Bottolato, or if anything will have to be redone with Tarani and the currently unknown sixth member. For those of you keeping track, that means the Big Six is currently Left to Suffer's Taylor Barber, Infinite Annihilators Dickie Allen, Traders is Tyler Shelton, Lorna Shore's Will Ramos, and Spike's Darius Tarani. Stay tuned for the Big Six's debut material, hopefully soon. Well, I mean, they keep going at that rate.
I don't.
Yeah. So is it? So the thing is, are they the Big Eight now? Since the other.
Well, see that. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Is
is it a Big Six if you've already replaced the two people you thought was the sixth best? I mean,
right. I know it was
that's
supposed
kind of
to.
Wild, but
yeah, I remember first reading about it. It was billed as like the first deathcore boy band or some shit like that.
Yeah.
You had those 6 guys in it, and it was called the Big Six, like you say, because for a reason. And they haven't even really put anything out yet, and already 2 members have left. So I mean, and you got 6 guys who are lead singers of other groups, and
right.
And of course, Lorna Shore at the moment is probably arguably the biggest one of them all, and but you've got lead singers of 6 other groups coming together, and you're going to have schedules conflict and all this other shit. And I mean, you've already seen it with 2 other members, so I don't know what this project is gonna look like going forward, considering that 2 of the founders have already left. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good idea in theory, and I'm sure everybody wanted it to work, but I don't know.
If you look at,
I do wish him luck.
Yeah, if you look at the original lineup too, I mean, there was some pretty big names. I mean, you think with Fit for an Autopsy and Attila, of course, not being represented anymore, but I mean, that's two big bands, that's been around for a minute. So, so if it lets you know anything, they replaced one of those guys with Spite, which Spite's been around for a while too. So that's kind of crazy that they're replacing one of those bands with Spite. That's kind of like, why I don't understand why Spite wasn't in the mix to begin with, honestly. But that's just me. So I mean, Left to Suffer is a good band making a name for themselves. They've been around. They haven't been around like super long, but Lorna Shore, they're fairly young. So,
but they've blown up.
They have blown up, and I hate to say that. I think a lot of people, within the next decade or so, are probably going to be mad at Lorna Shore, but because I don't think Will Ramos can keep up what he's doing for another decade or so.
No,
he's already had vocal scrapings and stuff like that done. So so it's definitely what the type of technique that he has is really, really hard on your vocal cords. So.
There's no denying that it's a talent, but
it's
going to be one of those things where if you're a fan of Lorna Shore now, you better enjoy it now, because I kind of agree with you. I don't know if there's like an extended shelf life on Will Ramos's vocal cords. So I mean, we'll see, but. All right, I've got this other story over here, and it's not really about Marilyn Manson per se, but
right.
Okay, now all right, hang on, I have to stupid. Oh, there it is. The damn story wouldn't scroll. Okay, but anyway, still over at Loudwire. But again, this is going to kind of go back to what we talked about in the very, very beginning of the show. Like the very beginning of the show. A woman who caused $10 million in damages after driving her car into a house following a Marilyn Manson concert in Canada is now seeking damages from a company at the venue that served her alcohol at the show. You can already see where this is. You can already see where this is going. According to the CBC, Daniela Lice had attended the concert at London, Ontario's Budweiser Gardens, where Manson had performed in 2019. After the show, it was revealed in court proceedings that Lice had driven home going down the wrong way on Queens Avenue before slamming into a home, severing the house's gas line in the process. First responders pulled Lice from her vehicle and cleared the area after detecting the leak. Reportedly, 15 minutes after the crash, the house exploded and proceeded to set other neighboring homes in the area on fire as well. No one was killed in the incident, but 4 houses were destroyed and 7 people were left injured. Lice pled guilty to 4 counts of impaired driving and was sentenced to 3 years in prison in 2021. But Lice feels that some of the blame for the vehicle crash and explosion lies with Ovations Ontario Food Services, the company who oversaw the serving of alcohol at Budweiser Gardens the night of the show. In her claim against the company, Lice cites that the company or their employees served her, quote, when they knew or ought to have known that she was intoxicated, end quote. Failed to provide properly trained bouncers to monitor levels of intoxication, failed to check on her mode of transportation after she was ejected, and did not take steps to ensure she wouldn't drive home. According to Complex, Lice had accused Ovations of, quote, putting profit above safety, end quote, on the night in question. As a result, she's claiming that the damage from the explosion was, quote, caused or contributed to by the negligence, breach of duty, and breach of contract, end quote, of the company. It is also requested in the filing that if Lice and her father, who is also named in the legal action, are required to pay any amount of the court cost, that they are, quote, entitled to contribution and indemnity from the defendant, which is Ovations, end quote. I call bullshit.
No, it's called self-responsibility. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Her claims are bullshit.
Yeah, when have you ever went to a show and had to breathe into a breathalyzer or something before buying a drink or something? That's bullshit. Like, anybody got time for all that bullshit? Like, you know, it's called drink responsibly. It's telling you to do that for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope. I hope this lawsuit gets completely thrown out.
And plus, there's a thing called Uber, you dumb bitch. So, Jesus Christ.
Also, yes, I mean this is the definition of trying to pass the buck and
trying to get out of the shit. You know?
Good Lord! I mean,
you fucked up, man. Take it and learn from it.
Yep. You're lucky.
Thank God nobody got hurt. You know.
Yeah. You're lucky no one got hurt. You're lucky you only got 3 years in prison.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Total bullshit. So yeah, it has nothing to do with Marilyn Manson per se. It was just at one of his concerts that somebody drank too much and then decided to fucking drive home. So stupid.
Yeah, stupidity. All right, my last one is over from Metal Injection. This is a crazy story, and as much as we talk about stuff being stolen, this is actually a feel-good story. Cool. Yeah, you can ask any musician, and they'll be sure to tell you that if instruments or equipment go missing or are stolen, it's likely losing a part of themselves. This is especially true if the gear in question was customized or one of a kind, much like Steve Vai's Swiss cheese guitar that the Ace Shredder used during his time playing with David Lee Roth, which he can be seen playing that guitar in the Yankee Rose video. The guitar was supposed to head out with Vi on the subsequent Roth tour happening that summer, but sadly it was stolen from a California rehearsal space in 1986. Though in a pure twist of fate, Vi posted to Facebook to announce the guitar had been returned to its rightful owner. Reunited, and it feels so good, Vi wrote. Oddly enough, after going missing 36 and a half years ago, my custom Joe Despagni Swiss cheese guitar was finally returned to me. This guitar was custom built for me by Joe. Joe was my best friend in life growing up, and he made some of the wildest guitars I ever laid my fingers on, such as the Flame guitar, the Lightning Bolt, the Swiss cheese, Zing Zing, and his final piece that he made for me before he passed away, the Theodolite. He worked with his brother Rob on many of these guitars. I used Swiss cheese in the original Yankee Rose video while I was with David Lee Roth and stretched it out in rehearsals and was playing on tour with it, but this guitar, along with 3 others, was stolen in Pasadena, California at Perkins Palace during rehearsals for the Eat 'em and Smile tour. It is officially the first guitar to receive a monkey grip handle and the first one Joe made with a handle at my request. The guitar was discovered by young Ivan Gonzalez Acosta in the attic of his grandparents' home in Tijuana, Mexico, not too long ago. It seems the people that lived in his grandparents' house before them purchased the guitar somewhere along the way, and it was just stuck in the attic only to be discovered recently when they were organizing things. When Ivan discovered his guitar, he posted some images online, and they came to the trusty radar of our very own Mike Mesker. Mike is the authority on the history and specifics of all my guitars. Mike started reaching out to Ivan, and after some time, he was able to arrange a drop-off where Ivan was met by Mike, Doug, Arthur, and myself, thanks to Mike for his solid vigilance in bringing this guitar home. The condition of the guitar when I saw it was a shocker. It's as if it was put in a case and never played for 36 years. The colors are still vibrant and the neck is in great shape. Thank you, Ivan, for your kind consideration and for reuniting me with this piece of my history. Receiving this guitar feels like an old friend has returned home after so many years to jam with me. I believe that we will make a wonderful ham and Swiss sandwich together. so, so, uh, so there you go. That's some good stuff, man. 36 years. Imagine that being, you know for a fact that Steve thought that guitar was gone. So he's just like, I'll never see that guitar again. But just to, and it's crazy to just be stuck in an attic and nobody knew it was there. It's like, just stuck away and forgot about. It's like,
that's a very good story. I like that. Because we have over the last year, seems like over about the last 12 to 15 months, we've had way too many stories about people getting stuff taken from them.
It's pretty wild. I thought that was a pretty good story though to actually be reunited after that long, and it to be in that good a condition was kind of crazy too. So. All right, I guess I can go through some of the other headlines here, which there was a lot of other headlines that wasn't really full stories, but
there was.
I can start off with our good friends Amour to play their first show in 4 years at the Blue Ridge Rock Fest this year. So, congrats to them. X-Stole reunites and booked for Furnace Fest 2023. Anthrax is hoping to start recording their new album this spring. Which works. Always good. Down is on the back burner now that Pantera is active again. That was from Pepper Keenan. Of course, he's okay with that because he actually said that Pantera needs to be heard by all, is what he said. So, so
yes,
pretty cool. And you kind of figure Down's on the back burner while they're doing this. So that's just kind of a duh moment. It's kind of Donald Tardy on Obituary's new album, having their fastest song ever, said, "What the hell am I thinking at my age?" I thought that was pretty funny. Dark Tranquility to spend 2023 working on a new record, which is pretty cool.
That's fine, yeah.
The German metal festival No Playback Festival has banned bands that use backing tracks. So no backing tracks, man, just a live feel. So
there you go.
And I know Destruction had their say about some of that. He said if you have to use backing tracks, it's not live. That's what he said. So, I mean, I guess he got a point, but
a little bit of truth to that, sure.
But like I said on here before, I feel like if it's somebody that's Ozzy or somebody that's up there in age, and you kind of feel like there's going to be something like that used in there because, I mean, they can't go like they used to. And you expect them to go out there for an hour and a half to play, then
right?
They may need a little help. So.
Well, I mean, we did a couple of stories not too long ago about a couple of artists using like teleprompters and stuff, and
right.
I mean, and the funny thing was you may have noticed it, but I'm pretty sure Chuck Billy was using a teleprompter in Nashville. I'm pretty sure he was, which I mean is fine. I mean, you would think, because I know some people are like, how do you forget the words after singing these songs so many times? But at the same time,
well, because that was 17 albums ago.
Right, exactly. So I mean, but at the same time, I mean, I know that there's been things that I've done a million times before, and if something distracts you for a second, you'll forget what you were doing. You'll forget what you were doing, or you forget how to do something like in the moment. We've joked before about how Chuck Billy missed the cue going. He missed his cue on Into the Pit, and they had to start the song over. So I mean, nothing ever goes 100% right 100% of the time. So having a little bit of a reminder there, in front of one of the monitors is fine. I don't think a vocalist should have to go 100% by memory 100% of the time, especially some of these guys who are a little older, Chuck Billy, Ozzy, stuff like that, So I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And if some of these bands have some backing tracks, here and there, if you're up there just lip syncing the whole time, I would probably have a little bit of an issue with that. But I'm not completely against a little bit of assistance, here and there. But if a band's doing it their entire set, then it's like, okay, maybe something needs to be looked at. So.
Well, that's just like with Tim from Eyes of the Living when we seen them back in October. They were playing the song. I can't remember what song it was now, but they had never played it live. So he was just like, "Hey, can you get my lyric sheet?" So he said I had to see the first line, but so I could then it all clicked. But sometimes you just gotta see that that first. I said, "Oh yeah, okay, I'm good."
Just
I'm
a
good
little
now.
nudge.
So
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you can't expect much. I mean, just think about if Rage or somebody like that with 20 plus albums are out there on stage performing, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna play this song," and then you're like, "Oh shit, how's it start again?" So I mean, that's a lot of material to try to sift through to remember. I mean, no matter how old you are, honestly, but.
Yeah, you're up there, you're in the moment, the adrenaline's flowing, you're interacting with the fans in a live setting, and you kind of just have a moment where you go blank for a second. It happens to everybody.
Which I think that's an amazing thing about Judas Priest, where they were playing songs that they had never performed live before, from older albums. And I thought, man, that's pretty freaking awesome to try to go back and do something from 30 years ago and play it for the first time. So that's pretty odd.
Yeah, and then to do a whole set like that, it's different from throwing like a deep cut in like at the end of a set, but to do an entire set like that, that's pretty impressive.
Ballsy.
Yeah, and ballsy at the same time. It really is when you think about it, because you're up there for, especially in the case of Judas Priest, you're up there for probably 90 to 120 minutes, and if you're doing nothing but deep cuts and B-sides and everything else, I mean that's saying something.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Max Cavalera recalls meeting Slipknot's Paul Gray for the first time, seeing he was a member of the Sepultura fan club at the time, which is pretty wild. So, Paul Stanley on Kiss's final tour: "Before we have no choice, I would like to end it." So that's probably pretty good advice.
Going out on their own terms, I get it.
Exactly. I'd rather them do that than something happened with Gene or Paul, and then
being
forced to say, "Yeah, we're done." But,
being forced to. I'm behind that 100%. Absolutely get that. I actually absolutely get that point of view.
Saxon covers Rainbow, Kiss, Nazareth, Alice Cooper, and others on their More Inspirations upcoming album. That should be interesting.
It should be.
Sammy Hagar says, "I'm not interested in doing things just for money." Well, I guess not, man. You don't need it. But I think that's cool that you have somebody that actually admit that they won't do anything just for money. I mean, it's, like I said, Sammy's point, if it's not meaningful, I don't think he's into it. Of course, he can make vodka for the rest of his life or tequila. And probably live pretty nice. So, I'm pretty sure he made more off selling the Cabo Wabo than he ever did performance.
Probably, he can just Cabo Wabo coast at this point. Yeah, you're probably right. Victor, to answer your question real quick before we go any further, I want to go see Pantera. The determining factor is just going to be money. Really?
Yeah, I think we're going to take that Alpharetta trip. So,
So,
Anthrax's Scott Ian says there is no chance of more Big Four shows happening until at least 2025. So, obviously, he knows something that we don't. If he's giving a timeline,
about to say that's not a no.
Obviously, they've talked to Tom or somebody to come up with a timeline. So, like I said, that may be a graduation year for one of Tom's kids or something, and then he's just like, "Oh, no kids, let's go back on the road." Screw it.
Maybe I don't know. I still don't see him going out on the road, but I don't know. I mean, like I say, I am never saying never, even though Kerry King's wife said never.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm never saying never. I still think. I get.
It's like they're all around. There's a possibility. So
yeah.
Well, we know two of them still play. So it's kind of
I'm telling you what, they do any more of those shows. One, they're going to sell out.
Oh yeah,
They will absolutely sell out. And two, I don't know if I see them doing like a whole tour.
probably not. If they
Who
do,
knows
if
for
they
sure? That's just speculation. But
yeah, if they do, it'll be a stadium type thing, like Def Leppard and them are doing. So they'll probably
yeah,
do like 16 shows maybe and be done with it, or
yeah.
whatnot. But who
I
knows?
do know for sure that if it happens, and that's a road trip I'm gonna take.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
That's a road trip I'm taking.
this next one kind of surprised me. Apparently, it's ridiculous that actor I'm gonna have to ask another question about this in a minute. Apparently, it's ridiculous that actor Margot Robbie likes heavy metal. First off, did we just like place everybody into the actor category now? There's no actresses anymore. I mean, I was kind of like, that's kind of odd. Maybe I missed that, but I don't think it's odd that she likes heavy metal. I mean,
No.
I'm sure there's a lot of actors and actresses that like heavy metal. So,
yeah, there are.
Destruction says they will stay fast for the kids. Well, as a kid, we appreciate it. So.
That's right. Yeah. I appreciate you looking out for me. Yeah.
Oh man, this one was kind of. There's more to this story, and I probably should have just did the story on it. But Phil Demmel said on Rob Flynn's Relationships, he said our worlds do not need to collide at all. So evidently there's a lot of animosity there. So
yeah.
He said he's probably seen him twice since he left the band. So, and he said one of them was at a show, and he was he went to peek backstage, and Rob and his kids and stuff were backstage. So he just kind of went, hey, and then stepped back out into the crowd. And then I can't remember who he said, somebody else came up and was talking to him. And then Rob came out and talked to that guy. It was like, oh, hey, Mr. Demmel, and kind of fist bumped him. And so that was like the kind of the whole like interaction was just a fist bump and hey, and that was it. So so Phil's just like, yeah, we're both doing our own things and we're happy, so we probably just need to leave it at that. So
yeah. I hope I kind of hope that's something that gets resolved at some point. And knowing what I do know, which it isn't much, I think the onus is going to be on Rob to kind of fix that. So by his own admission, with the way that Dave McClain and Phil left the band at the end of 2018, I think by his own admission, I think that was kind of something that was on Rob. So I think that's going to probably be on him to kind of repair that relationship. And hopefully it does. Whether they ever play music again is beside the point. But I mean, two people shouldn't like hate each other like that for forever. There's just really no point in it. But we also don't, the same thing with Burton C. Bell and Dino Cazares. I mean, hopefully they don't hate each other forever too, so, life's too short, man. I mean, even if you don't work together again, life's just too damn short.
Which I think is crazy with like KK Downing and Judas Priest. He played with them. He played with them on the Hall of Fame ceremony. He played on stage with them, and Rob Halford even said, it was just like a guy never left. So I mean, he was giving him his props and stuff. So I mean, it was kind of cool to see that, even though we know there was more to that story than that. I mean, it was a little bit of animosity there when they left. So and just like Dave Mustaine and shit.
David Ellison,
David Ellison, yeah. So.
Those two probably won't be mad at each other for forever either. But yeah,
well, no, because I mean they started the band together, so I mean it's kind of like you got that relationship that's there, and I think Dave, Mustaine kind of did what he thought he needed to do to protect the band's name at the time of everything going on. So and for Ellison to be mad. If he is mad about that, for him to be mad about that is just ridiculous, because you got to look at it as a business standpoint, not personal. So, and I think that's kind of way, Dave Mustaine looked at it. I mean, first off, you just recorded an album. Why would I want to go out of my way to re-record the fucking album with somebody else's bass lines? So it's kind of, it's kind of the whole situation created an inconvenience in Dave Mustang's eyes. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, all these guys who are not on speaking terms right now, whoever they are, there needs to be some hatchets buried and some air cleared and stuff like that. But I mean,
well, I mean, Rob Flynn was talking about doing a whole nother album with the original members at one point, and of course COVID hit and kind of put a halt on all that, and now they're all busy again doing their own thing. So but obviously he's gotten to that point to where he's going back to talking to the original members, so that's a good thing. So
right,
it may just be on Phil being just kind of like fuck that guy at this point.
Well,
it might take Phil a little while to get over it, but
that's true, and and he has his own reasons, and he's entitled to them. But I mean, as far as Rob and Phil, specifically, I hope something gets worked out to where it doesn't have to be so. I'm sure it will at some point. Yeah, to where it at least doesn't have to be so awkward if they do run into each other at a show or a festival or something, to where they can at least at least where they can talk. Like I say, I'm not even advocating for them to even work together again. But I mean, if things can be cool,
they all speak in terms.
Yeah, exactly. Where things can be cool and civil. I mean, just I just don't like to hear about people just holding mutual grudges against each other for ridiculously long periods of time. It's just kind of pointless.
It's pointless. Yeah, it's pointless. So
yeah.
Carry on with a couple more headlines here. Doc Coyle says new God forbid music could be possible. So that's always good news. And from a fan standpoint, please do. So, I mean, I feel like that was one of those bands that were like kind of like stepped out when they were on top of their game. So it's really unfortunate that it had to happen that way. But
and I think they were kind of on the cusp of really making
breaking it. Yeah, they were.
I think they were. I think they were.
The Architects frontman, an older white man in the metal scene. There's a lot of gatekeeping around artistic freedom. So that's kind of interesting. I think we've kind of heard some stories like that, kind of from Will, from Sepsis, saying that kind of stuff goes on where, people think they know your music better than you do. So, which, is, I kind of don't like that. I feel like, I signed you on as an artist. I want to let you do your thing, and then I want to make suggestions to tweak what you're already doing. That's the thing. It's like, like, hey, we may need to do this right here instead of that, or something like that. Don't change the whole guy's, format of how they do things. It's kind of ridiculous. If it's working for them, let them do their thing and make your fucking money and shut the hell up. So. But no, I think it's more. Yeah. I think it feels like it's more of a power thing at that point. Like, oh, I can control what goes on here, and I'm going to, because I'm the fucking label, And instead of being like, if you want to look back at like '80s where Geffen Records were like into everything, Mutt Lane was recording everybody's shit, and he probably didn't give a damn what it's. He wasn't trying to change your sound. He was like, hey, you guys do what you do. Let's record it. Because he was into so much, there's no way he could be too nitpicky with, bands like Dokken and Def Leppard, and you had some big name bands, and he was recording for Whitesnake, all those bands. So it was kind of like you had big name bands that were, hey, this is what we sound like, and this is what we're going to sound like, and they probably would have told him tough shit, But I kind of feel like that's messed up that they're still, especially with where so many bands are going independent now. It seems like the labels would want to give them their little bit of freedom to do what they need to do recording wise to kind of keep them on the label.
Yeah.
All right. Air Como Plomo is the Colombian groove metal band you didn't know you needed in your life. So if you haven't checked that band out, then check them out. And I don't know if Victor may be familiar with that band or not, being from South America, but Air Como Plomo.
Aaron Como Plomo. I have to check that out.
It's Air, AIRE, Como Plomo. So.
Air Como. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So, This one's something they might be interested in. Slipknot's Corey Taylor is beginning recording on his second solo album. So there's that.
Well,
hopefully it's better than the first one.
I was about to say I would probably just be cautiously optimistic on that one.
And then Duff McKagan says that Guns N' Roses will play this year's Glastonbury Festival. So there you go. Congratulations to those guys.
Yeah.
And that was kind of all I had for the headlines there. So, like I said, there was a lot to get through. So,
there was.
As far as stories and then headlines on top of it, I'm like, damn, this is going to be long. So.
Yeah, stuff is definitely picking back up now that the holiday season is fully over.
Yeah.
And of course, unfortunately, having 4 deaths to pass along doesn't help either. It doesn't. We never enjoy having to talk about that, but
I guess we can switch over to hitting the road real quick here.
Real quick, really?
Yeah, it probably won't be quick, but
Yeah, probably not.
Go. I wanted to talk about the festival that just released their full.
Yeah. We should definitely do that.
Rockfest, that goes on in Cadott, Wisconsin, July 13th through the 15th. They released their full lineup where Thursday Pantera is going to headline with Ice Cube, and in this moment, The Ghost Inside, Ginger, Orianthi, which I haven't heard that name in a while, Suicide Silence, Vended, Fame on Fire, Eva Under Fire. They're going to have a fire day that day. So, looks like there's a lot of other bands on here I'm not real familiar with, but that's the gist of it on Thursday. And then Friday, Slipknot's going to be headlining with Fallen in Reverse, Ice Nine Kills, Asking Alexandria, Wage War, Mushroom Head, Cherry Bombs, Crowbot, Gideon Saul, and excuse me, and then a lot of other Kingdom Collapse is on there, so I know that band. So a lot of good bands there on Friday as well. And then Saturday night, headline is Godsmack, and then Papa Roach, Highly Suspect, Everclear, War, Dorothy, 10 Years, New Year's Day, Plush, Dayseeker, Hybrid Theory, Scarlet. Okay. So there's a pretty good bit of it. They have a Wednesday night bonus there, but it's kind of a Soul Asylum, Alien Ant Farm, Gemini Syndrome, Tala, No Resolve. So pretty good little festival there. Going up to Wisconsin in July probably wouldn't be bad either. So probably some nice weather for that. So I love the poster. It's kind of got a woody, in the woods and kind of sparkly, kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
All right. So other hitting the road that I have a couple of big announcements, but I think Chris is going to have the biggest announcement of the week because, like I said, I didn't pull anything from yesterday. So, when I say big announcements, it's bigger than what I'm about to report on, which is crazy to even think. So, I think the biggest one before that would have been Gojira, Mastodon, and Lorna Shore announcing their North American tour. That's going to kick off on April 18th in Portland, Oregon at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. End up on September 2nd in Denver, Colorado at the Fiddler's Green Amphitheater. And they do pass through Nashville on May 2nd at the Municipal Auditorium. But that, when I seen those dates, I said, now that's a fucking tour. You're going from April to September. And
that's getting out there.
That's getting out there, yeah. So, we've been reporting on month-long tours and stuff for a while. So.
Yeah, week-long, yeah.
Yeah, seeing a tour that extensive is like, whoa, wow, that's they're not playing around, man. They're going out for a minute. And then Clutch announces their North American tour with Nate Bergman and Amigo the Devil. That kicks off on April the 11th in Norfolk, Virginia at the Norva, and then ends up on I get this out in a minute. On May 18th in Saraville, New Jersey at the Starland Ballroom. And then another one I was interested in. Of course, it's not coming nowhere near here, unfortunately, but Creator, Sepultura, Death Angel, and Spirit World announced a North American tour.
I know.
Jesus Christ!
I
I was just
know.
like,
I
I was
know.
like, I was like, please be close by. He was like, fuck.
Yeah. I know that sucks.
So that kicks off on May 12th in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and ends on June 10th in New York, New York. And the crazy thing is they didn't have any venues listed, so I'm not sure if.
Okay, I had it over at Blabbermouth, and the starting venue on May 12th is the Harrisburg Midtown Arts Center, and
Okay.
then the venue in New York, New York on June 10th is the Palladium. So
Okay, cool. So yeah, the where I pulled it from didn't have a listing of where, and I thought that was kind of weird.
yeah,
But,
it is kind of strange. But yeah, unfortunately,
I said, well, maybe they haven't figured it out yet. But it's kind of hard to book a town without a building. But
yeah, that's true.
And then the last one I had was the Black Dahlia Murder, announces their first North American tour since the passing of Trevor Strnad. And their opening acts are Terra, Frozen Soul, Fuming Mouth, and Phobophilic.
Yep, Phobophilic. Yep.
That kicks off April 14th at Decibel Metal and Beer Fest in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and ends on May 26th at the Skyway Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they will be here in Nashville at the Eastside Bowl on April 27th. So,
which is a cool little venue.
It is, yeah. So
it's a cool venue.
There's a lot of stuff actually coming through Nashville now, which I'm kind of glad of. So,
me too.
But that was all that I had to contribute. So you can kick off with the big news there. So.
All right, yeah, I will. And actually, I'll have to scroll down for that one because, like I say, it came out later in the week. Yep. But we'll go ahead and start with that one for sure. Anyway, so for my contribution to the Hitting the Road segment this week, obviously starting off at the PRP.com, and of course, this was announced everywhere.
Yeah,
and for good reason. But Pantera and Lamb of God have announced the dates for their North American tour, and this isn't any of the festivals or any of the ones with Metallica. This is just their North American tour dates. Yep, starting on July 28th in Burgettstown, Pennsylvania, at the Pavilion at Star Lake, and will finish on September 15th in Bristow, Virginia, at Jiffy Lube Live. And the sad part, no Nashville date. So, yeah, check that out. If you can, go. Just that's all I'm going to say. If you can go. Then we have Papa Roach, The Used, and Cold Drain going on an Australian tour starting April 21st in Perth at Metro City, finishing April 30th in Brisbane at the Fortitude Music Hall. That's going to be Papa Roach and The Used only. Monolith has canceled their European and UK tour due to the bankruptcy of their promoter. So that's that's kind of a big deal. I feel bad for Monolith having to do that. Then we have Paradise Lost, Primordial, Omnium Gatherum, and Harakiri for the Sky going to Europe starting September 28th in Karlsruhe, Germany at Substage, and the tour will wrap up in Utrecht, Netherlands at the Tivoli Vredenburg. And why the hell I don't have the finish date on here is beyond me, other than I just completely didn't write that down. So I'll have to backtrack on that one a little bit. Ice Nine Kills has rescheduled their European and UK tour due to logistical issues. So the tour dates now, the rescheduled dates, are April 28th in Amsterdam, Netherlands at the Melkweg, and will finish June 18th in Gothenburg, Sweden with Metallica and Five Finger Death Punch. Skinned will be the opener for the other dates leading up to that last tour stop with Metallica and Five Finger Death Punch. 4 new dates have been added to the tour with Archspire, Psychroptic, Benighted, and Theos in Europe. The new dates are March 28th in Gothenburg, Sweden at Brewhouse, March 29th in Stockholm at the Slagtkirkon. I hope I said that right. March 30th in Frederica, Denmark at Exercerhuset. I hope I said that right. And March 31st in Hanover, Germany at Faust. Then we have Wage War, Nothing, Nowhere, and Spite going out starting April 11th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at Revolution Live, finishing May 20th in Atlanta, Georgia at the Masquerade Heaven. They will be in Nashville at Marathon Music Works on May 19th. Then Warbringer has announced a slew of dates. They will be on the 70,000 Tons of Metal cruise on January 30th through February 3rd. They will be in Oxnard, California at the Oxnard Performing Arts Center featuring Dead Heat on February 10th. They will be in Pomona, California at the Glass House featuring Excel and Fueled by Fire on February 11th. Then they have a European tour with Evil Invaders, Schizophrenia, and Masons starting on May 24th in Aalst, Belgium at Oilst and Ploft. I really hope I said that right. And we'll finish on April 30th in Rotterdam, Netherlands at Barroog. Then they will be with Hellripper on that. Well, it's kind of weird because the European tour goes from March 24th to April 30th. And then April 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th, they will be in the UK. On the 26th, they'll be in Birmingham at the Asylum. On the 27th, they'll be in Manchester at the Bread Shed. On the 28th, they'll be in Glasgow at the Cat House. Then on the 29th, they'll be in London at the Boston Music Room. Then the very, very last date is April 30th in Rotterdam, Netherlands with Evil Invaders, Schizophrenia, and Masons. So it's kind of weird. They have this small set of they have this very, very small set of shows with Hellripper in the UK, not right in the middle of a tour with another group of bands, but like the very, very tail end. So it's a little strange. And then they have two festival appearances on August 18th in Kaltenbach, Germany at the Kaltenbach Open Air Fest, and August 20th in Eindhoven, Netherlands at the Dynamo Metal Fest. So Warbringer is going to be busy this year, which is good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Weed Eater and Rebelmatic are going out starting February 22nd in Carborough, North Carolina at the Station, finishing March 3rd in Asheville, North Carolina at the Asheville Music Hall. No Nashville date there. Death to All, Suffocation, and Nukem going out starting March 2nd in Seattle, Washington at El Corazon, finishing April 1st in Denver, Colorado at the Summit Music Hall. No Nashville date there. Sleeping with Sirens, Static Dress, and Charming Liars are going to Europe and the UK starting March 13th in Bristol, UK at the O2 Academy, finishing March 13th in Glasgow at SWG3. Elder, Ruby the Hatchet, and Howling Giant are going out starting May 3rd in Buffalo, New York at Mohawk, finishing June 3rd in Hamden, Connecticut at the Space Ballroom. No Nashville date there. Mono and Gold are going to Europe and to the UK starting May 6th in Krakow, Poland at Kamiena 12, finishing June 2nd in Norwich, UK at the Arts Center. Agnostic Front is going on a mini tour of Europe, if you can go on a mini tour of Europe, Jesus. Starting February 21st in Weinheim, Germany at Cafe Central, February 22nd in Cham, Germany at LA, February 23rd in Dresden, Germany at Chemi Fabric, February 24th in Immenhausen, Germany at Aku, and February 25th in Liège, Belgium at the 6K Fest. Brujeria is going out on a tour in celebration of the 30th anniversary of Matando Guerros. The first leg of the tour will be with Art of Shock and Total Chaos, which starts February 24th, 23 in Yuma, Arizona at the Red Moon Ale House, and will finish March 12th in Sacramento, California at the Den of Sin. And then the last part of the tour with Art of Shock and Dwarves will start March 15th in San Jose, California at the Ritz, and will finish March 19th, 2023 in San Diego, California at the Music Box. No Nashville date for either one of those lineups. And then last but certainly not least, over at blabbermouth.net, Voivod is going on a 40th anniversary European tour. It's a quick jog around Europe starting April 16th in Eindhoven, Netherlands at the Prognosis Festival. And in some sort of glitch in the Matrix kind of thing, we'll finish April 22nd in London, England at the Prognosis Festival. So it starts and ends at the Prognosis Festival, which was kind of weird, but you know.
Right.
So yeah, all of that was the hit in the road.
What's the prognosis on that?
I don't. The prognosis is it's weird.
Hey, there's a couple of things you can take from this. Is Metallica comes out with a new single or whatever, and they're like, "Oh well, we're gonna have the biggest news of the week coming out with this new single," and then Pantera's like, "Man, fuck you, hold my beer. We're trying to go to the tour with Lamb of God."
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty wild. But, I mean, honestly, like it switched. Like like that instant whenever I was looking at all the news sites and everything was Metallica. And as soon as Pantera announced that, they were like all top of all the news. Like Metallica dropped down to not being as relevant. So, which that news signal is kick ass, by the way. So.
Oh yeah, and unfortunately, like I say, I know that, and I don't know who this commenter is in the comments right now.
Oh, that's Andy. That's Andy Jeter.
Is it Andy? Okay.
Yeah.
Because right now, because considering that I didn't have, I had a little bit of difficulty with StreamYard this morning, so I wasn't able to set the studio up under my admin. So right now, all I can see it just says Facebook user, and then Jason, I see where you've posted the playlist in the comments. I can't share it, so
yeah, I know. I'm still putting it in there. So
yeah. So unfortunately, I had a little bit of technical difficulty this morning, so I had to have the boss man help me out and get the show started today. So I don't have all of the rights and privileges that I normally have. So
you lost your freedoms.
I did a little bit. But Andy, it's good to see you, bud.
All right, you want to do the theme of the week, or you want to do the list first?
Ooh, let's do the theme of the week first. We'll just do that first.
All right. All right. So our theme of the week this week is going to be rebellion. I think I got 12 or 13 on here. I didn't go too far into it.
Yeah. But, I ended up with 16, but unfortunately one of my songs was not on Spotify, but I wanted to keep it on the list because it was a song that I really, really liked, and I was pissed off that I couldn't find it to add to this week's playlist, but I wanted to keep it on the list. That way, hopefully, I'm gonna say the name of it, so hopefully people will still check the song out on YouTube. So,
excuse me. So, all right, my contributions to theme of the week, rebellion this week. I could have went with about 10 versions of this song, and not to say any of them are crappy, but my favorite one is Drowning Pool's Rebel Yell, which is the Billy Idol cover from Full Circle 2008. And also Queensryche did a really good version of that song on their latest album too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it was pretty damn spot on. So I think Drowning Pool, I just like it better because he's got that rasp kind of like Billy does. So so just kind of sounded better to me. But then the second song I took was Gravedigger Rebellion, The Clans Are Marching from the Middle Age Trilogy 2002. Then I went with Propane, Violent Voice of Rebellion from that same titled album in 2015. Then I went with $1 Million Reload, which I just found this song searching stuff. So, and I was like listening to it, and I said, "Oh, that's definitely rebellious." So, there's a band called $1 Million Reload, and it's called Fight the System. It's from a Sinner's Saint album. Damn, I didn't put the year on there, so sorry about that. So I don't know what year that album was, but like I said, it was a new band to me, and I actually liked the song just so it would pop back up in my Spotify. So,
oh, nice, there you go.
So, then of course I think you can't talk about rebellion without talking about the ultimate rebellious song from our childhood, Twisted Sister, We're Not Going to Take It from Stay Hungry 1984. Right. So, and then I went with Disturbed 10,000 Fists from the same name album in 2005. And then I kind of went on a spree there with the fist thing. So I went with Doro, Raise Your Fist in the Air from Raise Your Fist 2012. And then I went with Primal Fears, Raise Your Fist from the Metal Commando album in 2020. Then I went with Lost Society, Riot from Brain Dead in 2016. Then I went with Killswitch Engage, Rise Inside from Alive or Just Breathing 2002. Then I went with Sepultura, Refuse and Resist from Chaos AD 1993. And then I usually don't do this, but the lyrics on this song is just so spot on to this theme. So I went with Drowning Pools another time with Rise Up, which is the on the WWE Music Volume 6 from 2004.
Oh yeah, okay. I got
but
you.
yeah, that song was definitely
I get that one. Yeah.
just fitting for that. So so
There you go.
that was my contributions to the theme there. So
Nice. We did have a couple doubles, which is totally fine. But this is really shaping up to be a great fucking great playlist though. It really is. All right, so my list for the theme of the week this week, starting off, I had Uprising by Sabaton off of Coat of Arms from 2010. Then I had Revolution Begins by Arch Enemy off of Rise of the Tyrant from 2007. Then I had Gimme Liberty or Gimme Death by Havoc off of Unnatural Selection from 2013. Then I went with Revolution Is My Name by Pantera off of Reinventing the Steel from 2000. Then I went with Violent Revolution by Creator off of the album of the same name from 2001. Revolution by Accept off of Stalingrad from 2012. Then I had We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister from Stay Hungry 1984. Free or Rebellion by UDO off of Leatherhead from 2011. In the Wake of Uprising from Extinction AD off of Decimation Treaty from 2018. Revolution by Primal Fear off of Black Sun from 2002. Then I also had Voice of Rebellion by Propane from this album of the same name from 2015. Then I had Rebel of Damnation by Gravedigger off Return of the Reaper from 2014. Leather Rebel by Judas Priest off of Painkiller from 1990. Revolution of Two by Avatar off of their self-titled album from 2009. And then this is the song that I found that I really liked, but I was really pissed off that this album wasn't on Spotify. The name of the track is just Rebellion by a band called Black Abyss off of their Angels Wear Black album from 2004. They are a power / thrash metal band from Germany. Only one of their albums is on Spotify, and it was their 2012 release, and I can't remember the name of it, but the song is on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. I think it's a really good song, and obviously the name of the track fits with the theme. And then last but not least, I went with the track also called Rebellion by a band called Envenomed off of their album The Walking Shred. Which is the album cover was cool too. From 2019, they are a melodic thrash metal band from Australia. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So as usual, we'll get that playlist compiled and collaborated on, and we'll get it posted for you guys as soon as we can.
And last week's was money, right?
Hang on, I can tell you.
Trying to look this up.
Yes.
Okay. I posted that one too there. So,
yep. Last week's was money.
Of course, if anybody's listening on the radio, you can always go to Spotify and look up Metalheads Unite and click the playlist section there, and it should show up all of our playlists there. So, which I still haven't went through and filtered out last year's. I need to do that, but
yeah, there's plenty of music to listen to.
Yeah. All right, so our version of the list this week is something that we kind of we've seen other outlets do this, so we wanted to do one with our own opinion on it. I didn't want to get too crazy with the first one and be like Megadeth and have to go through 17 albums, but
yeah.
So it kind of kept it simple. We went with the list this week. We're going to do the list of Death Angel albums, ranking them in order of our favorites. So just to give a little bit of history on all this and how all this came about, I wanted to do that too because there was some stuff in here that I didn't know either. So I thought it was pretty cool to try to go through all this real quick. Well, it's not going to be real quick. It's like 3 pages here, but if you can stand my voice for that long, then here we go. So if you don't know Death Angel is an American thrash metal band from Daly City, California. Initially active from 82 to 91, and then again since 2001. Death Angel has released 9 studio albums, 2 demo tapes, 1 box set, and 3 live albums. The band has gone through several lineup changes, leaving guitarist Rob Cavastani as the only constant member. He and vocalist Mark Osegueda, who joined the group in 1984, are the only members of Death Angel to appear on all of their studio albums. So I did not know that. So that was some news to me. But I knew there wasn't original members in there, but I didn't know they were like the only two that had been on like every album. That's kind of wild. But Death Angel was formed in the San Francisco Bay Area in California in '82 by cousins Rob Cavastani, who lead guitar and backing vocals, Dennis Peppa, lead vocals and bass, and Gus Peppa, rhythm guitar, and Andy Galeon on drums, all of Filipino descent. After considering a number of different names for the band, including Dark Fury, Cavastani and D. Peppa settled on the name Death Angel after coming across a book by that title in a bookstore. In 1983, the band released their first demo, Heavy Metal Insanity, with Matt Wallace serving as producer. According to Mark Osegueda, the group was then more like a metal band, more like Iron Maiden, Tigers of Pantang, and stuff like that, as the so-called Bay Area thrash movement was only just beginning to rise to prominence at the time and make its influence felt. Osegueda, a second cousin of the other four members who had been working as their roadie, became the group's lead vocalist in '84 and performed his first show with the band on a bill with Megadeth in April of that year at one of the 4 Megadeth gigs to feature Kerry King on guitars. So look at that history right there. I mean, that's some crazy shit.
Fun fact.
Yeah. Death Angel continued to play club gigs in and around the San Francisco Bay Area for nearly 2 years, writing songs and refining their stage show. In 1985, the band recorded the Kill as One demo produced by Metallica's Kirk Hammett, who they had met at a record store signing in 1983. The underground tape trading wave of the 80s led to extensive distribution of the demo, bringing the band wide attention. Osegueda later recalled that prior to the release of the band's first album, we were playing in LA and New York, and the crowd was singing our songs because there was this underground tape thing. That's what keeps it alive, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. Excuse me. In 1986, Death Angel performed at their Concord, California high school, Clayton Valley High School, now known as Clayton Valley Charter High School. At lunchtime, they famously dedicated a song, Mistress of Pain, to the vice principal. The success of Kill as One led to a record deal with Enigma Records, who released Death Angel's debut album, The Ultraviolence, in 1987. The band recorded the album when all the members were still under 20 years old, with drummer Andy Galeon being the youngest at 14, and subsequently embarked on its first tour supporting such bands as Exodus, Destruction, Voivod, Sacrifice, and Whiplash. A video was filmed for Voracious Souls, a song about a band of cannibals, but it never aired on MTV due to the nature of the lyrics.
Go figure.
Pretty fucking wild that they all got signed and dude was 14. Like, what the hell, man? That is crazy. Geffen Records bought out the band's contract with Enigma Records in 1989 and released the third Death Angel album, Act 3, in 1990, produced by Max Norman, who had previously worked with Ozzy Osbourne, Megadeth, Sabotage, Fates Warning, and Loudness. So, pretty good resume for that guy there. Death Angel had embarked on what was scheduled to be a worldwide tour in support of Act 3 in 1990, selling out shows at the Warfield Theater in San Francisco, the Ritz in New York, and England's Hammersmith Odeon, and touring or playing selected shows with the likes of Forbidden, Vicious Rumors, Sanctuary, Sepultura, Sacred Right, Morbid Angel, Atheist, Forced Entry, Dead Horse, and former guitarist Chris Poland. While driving in Arizona en route to a show in Las Vegas, the group's tour bus crashed and drummer Andy Galeon was critically injured, needing more than a year to recover. Cavastani said at the time that in a way it made perfect sense to have a major accident right now. It really fit the storyline. We've been pushing so hard for 8 years and just not getting that far, and getting so frustrated with not being where we thought we should be after so long. It was time for something climatic to happen. The band also slated to be opening for the Clash of the Titans tour featuring Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax in the summer of '91, but were ultimately replaced by Alice in Chains since they were unable to perform. Additionally, Death Angel and Geffen were planning to release a live album recorded at the shows in the Bay Area, and the band was intending to tour a number of other countries it had not previously visited. According to Cavastani, they were invited to tour Europe with Annihilator and Judas Priest supporting the latter on their Painkiller tour. However, due to the bus accident, Death Angel canceled the offer and was replaced by Pantera. Following the accident, Geffen Records and the band's manager pressured the group to hire another drummer and immediately get back to work. The band performed a few shows in Japan with drummer Chris Contos, but when they declined to hire a long-term replacement, Geffen Records dropped them. So Asagueda left the group, then moved to New York to pursue a life outside of music, and Cavastani later explained that we weren't going to try to replace him with all the stuff that was happening. We were just totally disgusted at how things had turned out, and we felt that this was a sign that the band was not going to go on. The remaining members performed a few acoustic-only shows in the Bay Area, appearing as the Past. In the summer of '91, with Galen fully recovered, Death Angel's remaining members, minus Asagueda, performed under the name The Organization, which was the title of a song on Act 3, with Cavastani taking over the lead vocal duties. The band focused more on funk and alternative rock than traditional metal. The Organization's first demo was recorded and produced at City College of San Francisco's multi-track studios by Eric Caution and Dana Galloway. The Organization toured extensively through the United States and Europe, including 2 appearances at the Dynamo Open Air Festival in the Netherlands and support slot on Rob Halford's Fight Tour and the main support act for Motorhead in Europe. However, both 1993's The Organization and 1995 Savor the Flavor albums, which was distributed by Metal Blade Records, failed to make waves with the record buying public, and Cavastani and Galeon decided to disband. Around 1992, Asagueda was invited to audition for Anthrax after the departure of Joey Belladonna. The band eventually hired John Bush, as we all know, of Armored Saint. And Anthrax guitarist Scott Ian later wrote that Asagueda had a great voice, but was strangely too metal for us. that's like crazy to say that. He was too metal for us. Wow.
Wow. That's
lets you know.
That's a compliment.
That is a compliment. Yeah. So
that's a compliment.
If you have any doubts about his vocal ability, there you go. In 1998, Cavastani and Galeon returned with Asagueda for the first time since 1990. Along with bassist Michael Lazea, they formed Swarm and released a 4-track self-titled EP in 1999 and the 5-song Devour EP in 2000. Swarm toured with Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains in 2000 and released the compilation album Beyond the End, which combined the contents of 2 EPs with a cover of The Doors' My Eyes Have Seen You in 2003. Although Swarm did not become a commercial success, it did bring the core members of Death Angel back together, setting up an official reunion. So Death Angel officially reunited in 2001 of August for the Thrash of the Titans, a cancer benefit show for Testament frontman Chuck Billy. Original guitarist Gus Peppa could not participate in the reunion since he was out of the country. At Cavastani's suggestion and with Peppa's blessing, the band enlisted longtime friend and fan Ted Aguilar to handle rhythm guitar duties, which we know how that turned out. Originally planned as a one-off show, the band received such a positive response that they played a string of other well-received gigs around the San Francisco area and a pair of European tours, despite the band not having issued an album in over a decade. They also participated in Wacken Open Air and the Bang Your Head 2004. Asagueda had since announced his involvement in the band All-Time Highs, but had emphasized that he was going to remain a member of Death Angel. At a show at the Grand in San Francisco on October 28, 2008, Death Angel announced that founding member Dennis Peppa would be leaving the band and that the show would be his final live appearance performing with them. Citing creative differences, he stated, "I've been with Death Angel since its inception in the 80s and believe it is time for me to move on. Throughout my career with the band, I've brought a punk-influenced edge to Death Angel's sound, and as an open-minded musician in need of change, I'd like to diversify and explore other opportunities within and beyond the genre of metal." On January 10, 2009, Death Angel announced the addition of bassist Sammy Diastado to replace Peppa. Diastado is a Bay Area native who previously played with the San Francisco hardcore band The Sick and is a member of the rock and roll outfit All Time Highs, which was fronted by Asagueda. Death Angel headlining in Toronto in 2013. Drummer and founding member Andy Galeon left Death Angel in May of 2009 for family and personal reasons. He stated in September 2009 interview, "We had a tour booked and basically I had personal things I had to deal with. I had a newborn baby and I was just like, well, I've got to do stuff at home. We, the members of Death Angel, weren't communicating well or nothing. I wasn't about to ask them to not go on the road, so I just said, I'll just leave then. This left Rob Cavastani as the only founding member and remaining in the band. Galeon was replaced by Will Curl, formerly of Scarecrow, Oh Granddad, and Vicious Rumors. November 2009, Sammy Diastado was replaced by bassist Damian Sisson, formerly of the thrash band Scarecrow and the Potential Threat, as well as progressive instrumental three-piece band Points North. Following the conclusion of the Bay Strikes Back tour, which we've seen twice, which took place as the COVID-19 pandemic was beginning to spread around the world, drummer Will Carroll contracted COVID-19 and was admitted to an intensive care unit at the Northern California Hospital. Gary Holt of Exodus and Testament members Chuck Billy and Steve DiGiorgio also fell ill after returning from the tour, as did various members of their crews. April 2nd, 2020, after nearly 2 weeks on a ventilator, Carroll posted a lengthy update on his health, thanking his family and friends for supporting them, and revealed that he had been getting some new files from Rob Cavastani, which will eventually be Death Angel's 10th record. By mid-2020, Carroll had fully recovered from COVID and confirmed in an interview with Rock Immortal in August that he and Cavastani were already working on new material for the next Death Angel album. December 2021, Asagueda stated that the bands had started writing in the very, very early stages of their new album, but indicated that its release could be pushed back to 2023 due to COVID pandemic and their tour schedule for 2022. They began recording demos for the album in March of 2022. So just kind of leading up to now, that's kind of what I was trying to do here. So hopefully that kind of puts everything into perspective. So
and there were those little tidbits
I thought it was cool to have some of that stuff that I never knew too. So
it's very, very cool. Like the behind the scenes stories in general are very cool. But when you get those little details, those little fun facts about, like the 4 shows with Kerry King, and then they were the openers on those shows. That's cool shit.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. That's kind of the stuff we try to pull when we have bands on here, is trying to pull out stuff like that from them. So,
right.
But so needless to say, we're probably going to get a Death Angel album in 2023. So
I am in.
So it sounds like they're pretty much they got all the demos done, so it sounds like they're heading toward a release this year. So
and having and like Jason said, having gone to see the Bay Strikes Back twice last year, we can attest that Mark sounds fine.
Yeah.
Mark's voice sounds just fine.
Really cool dude too. Like I got to talk to him in Chattanooga when we seen him there.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
But he was pretty cool guy. So. All right, so now that we've gotten all that out of the way, we kind of know the history and what went on there, and we're looking at number 10. So be kind of we have to like place that one in here when we hear it and get it get it released. So. Somewhere. So, but just to count them down from the 9 albums that are out there, this is the way I ranked them.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, man, those last 4, the last 4 albums are fucking great, dude. It's so hard to place those over one another, man. It was. But I guess I'll start it off with number 9. I did Frolic Through the Park from '88. And then I went with number 8. I put Ultraviolence 8 from '87 over that one. Frolic Through the Park had a lot of, I guess, like he was talking about that punk sound to it that I didn't really care as much for. And then number 7, I did the Act 3, of course, from 1990, which I think the Enigma years was probably more of recording. Because you went 14-year absence, so the recording industry, of course, got better. So you kind of can blame those albums being at the bottom mainly for recording wise, because they just wasn't recorded as well as the newer albums, and rightfully so, because like I said, you're talking about 88 to 2004. So that's a big difference. That's a big difference.
Right.
And then. My number 6 album, I put The Art of Dying from 2004 there, because like I said, that was kind of their comeback. And I think they were just trying to ease their way back into doing things, kind of where they left off. I don't think that was an album that kind of gave us anything totally new. And then I went with number 5. I went with the Killing Season from 08. Kind of the same way. I kind of feel like they progressed a little. I just don't feel like they kind of made a jump big enough to put that one any further than that. And then like I said, I got down to these last 4, and I'm just like, it was so hard to place these, and I just had to go through and rank the songs as far as I seen them to try to place these in any specific order. But number 4, I went with Dream Calls for Blood from 2013. Even though that title track's probably one of my favorite fucking songs, I know it's one of yours. But like I said, we're ranking the whole album here. So,
right.
There was some stuff in there that I was like, it's kind of iffy. So that's why I put it at 4. Then number 3, I went with Relentless Retribution from 2010, which it's hard to do because that album was so good. I think that album's right when I feel like they found their niche, because it had a lot of the heavier influence and went back to the thrashy sound and stuff. So then the top 2 is kind of, I feel like I could swap these and still be right. But the number 2, I went with Humanicide from 2019, and then of course my favorite album was The Evil Divide from 2016. So
yeah,
so that's the way I rate them.
Yeah, see, that's what's so good about doing lists like this, and we've gone through, before, and we've pulled, even before we decided to do this as a new segment on the show, we had once in a while we would pull a list off of Loudwire or one of our news sites, and we would kind of go over it, we would kind of go through it, and we agree, we disagree, what were they thinking, and all this other stuff. But that's what's kind of the good thing about lists all the time. They're all based on opinion and taste and all that stuff, and this one's not gonna be any different. But that doesn't mean it's right, wrong, or indifferent or whatever.
Well,
no. So so I mean, and I will say this before I start going through my list. You have always, I became a Death Angel fan a little bit kind of later down the line than you, but I do know, I have listened to their entire catalog, but you've been a Death Angel fan a little bit longer than I have, so I kind of got into them a little later in the game. But so having said that, my list, going from 9 to 1 like you, I also had Frolic Through the Park from 1988 at number 9. I kind of agree with you that it has a little bit of a different sound. To me, it was like a little bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And also to me, I think that album was way too long. I think those songs were a little long. That album was 69 minutes long, and I don't really think which I don't really think it needed to be. But one thing you can give Death Angel credit for is you get some, along with quality, you also get some quantity on some of these albums. But Frolic Through the Park, it was 14 songs in 69 minutes. It was a little long. Number 8, 8 through 1. I want to say this: 8 through 1. Obviously, we were different.
No, yeah.
But my 8 through 1 is definitely not an indictment on any of these albums, because I had a hard time going from 8 to 1 in the order, because there were things I liked about every album from 8 through 1. But with everything that you just went through, the whole history of the band and everything, you basically said it. There are basically 2 eras of Death Angel. The first 3 albums, 88 through 90, and then from 04 to now. So there's 2 distinct eras of Death Angel for me.
And I think we can both agree. I think we can both agree that they get better Like,
they absolutely do. They absolutely do.
And like a band that's been around that long, it's kind of hard to say that they're getting better with with albums as they put them out, which is, like I said, unreal to have a band come out in '84 and still say that. So,
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. The rest of their albums, I like every single one of them. Didn't really care for Frolic Through the Park as a whole. So that's why I put him at 9. And I think that's, so number 8, I went with Act 3 from 1990. Number 7, I had Killing Season at 2008. Number 6, I went with Relentless Retribution from 2010. Number 5, I went with The Art of Dying from 2004. I had that one a little higher up on the list than you did, because I think when they came back, that album being what they came back with, even though I will agree that, like you said, you didn't really get anything quote unquote new from them as far as stylistically. I think the ferocity of that album when it came back after, that 14-year hiatus, I think that's what kind of pushed that one a touch higher for me. So and then number 4, I had the Evil.
They could have came back. They came back in a lot worse way. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Especially going through the evolution of the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Even though Rob and Mark came back with the group, it was still a little bit of like kind of like a revolving door of the rest of the members. So, and then number 4, I went with The Evil Divide. Number 3, I went with Humanicide from 2019. Number 2, I went with The Ultraviolence from 1987. That album for me has some of their more iconic songs on it. Like a lot of the songs I think of when I think of Death Angel, a lot of the songs I think of came from that album. So even though that was their debut album, a lot of the songs on that album kind of stick in my head first and foremost. I mean, obviously not all of them, because I had, my favorite album, my number 1 album was The Dream Calls for Blood from 2013. And not just because the title track is my favorite Death Angel song, but just from start to finish. Like you say, there are some songs in there that kind of, that you could say there are some small valleys in there, I guess you could say. I will give you that one, but that one just kind of hits home for me. So, but
I think the cool thing about this is we are like liking and not liking them for different reasons too, which is pretty cool. It's like, I mean, we kind of agree with Frolic Through the Park, but after that you were like, oh well, I like this, you like The Art of Dying better because it was their comeback, and like we just said, they could have came back a lot worse, but to me it was just it was more of what they were doing in '90, sure. just a little heavier, which is great. I mean, that kind of gave them their platform to where they're at right now. So, and like you said, you were talking about one of the other albums, just like Dream Calls for Blood. You like it for one reason, and then like you were talking about the Ultraviolence being up so high because those are iconic songs. You're like, oh, those are iconic songs, and that's what I think when I think of Death Angel, and that's the reason you rank them high. Whereas I ranked all 3 of the 30 albums down because of the way it was recorded. So I mean, we're listening for 2 totally different things, and that's what's so cool about doing the list. And like anybody else out there is going to do the same thing and listen and be like, oh, well, I liked or disliked it for this reason, and then it may dawn on us and be like, okay, I can see that. So,
right,
there's nothing wrong with it, either way. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, I mean, the good thing about this whole list is I don't think Death Angel made a horrible album ever.
No, they absolutely did not make a horrible album. I think what they did with
if I had all these albums, I would never say I regret any of them. So.
Oh no, Absolutely not. I think maybe what they tried to do, and obviously without being able to ask them, we wouldn't know for sure. But I think what they tried to do, because you talked about a little bit more of the punk sound on Frolic Through the Park. I think maybe they tried to add. I don't know. Maybe they tried to add a little bit more of diversity to the second album than they did with the Ultraviolence. Maybe they tried to make sure that they had a little bit more. Maybe different avenues they could go stylistically, and maybe it just didn't quite work as well on Frolic Through the Park.
Yeah, I'm
but
not real sure.
When Act 3 came out, they did get back to Death Angel as we know it now. But at the time, they would have only had the Ultraviolence and Frolic Through the Park to go off of. So when Act 3 came out in 1990, it was basically getting back to business with the Ultraviolence, just being 3 years before. So,
when they did the comeback with Art of Dying too, I kind of felt like it was, a little Alice in Chainsy a little bit at some points. So yeah, so I kind of felt like they were trying to kind of incorporate some of that to try to draw some of those type fans into them.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's kind of what they were doing. We've been gone 14 years. We got to find a way to draw some people back toward us, and then once we get them, then we can kind of do our own thing after that. So
yeah, that may be.
Which, I mean, it's all about marketing. So
that's true. That's true.
All right. Well, that was that list of Death Angel albums there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's always good to go back and listen to a lot of that stuff too, man. So I really, I wound up listening to the last four that I listed. I wound up listening to them 3 or 4 times this week. So
right, there you go.
I was like, oh man, these are so good.
Oh, they are. They are good. And like I say, I'm looking forward to that 10th album if it comes out this year. And yeah, Mark's voice. I mean, he's not. I wouldn't necessarily say he's in the realm of like Howard Jones, but Mark's voice does seem to. His voice is aging well.
Yeah,
it really is. His voice is holding up very well. So, which is good for him and it's good for the band. So.
Yeah, it's good for all the fans too. So,
yeah.
All right, so album review time, I guess.
Yeah,
there's a couple out there again this week. That I went back last week like you did, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go back last week and see if any of those albums actually came out yet, but they haven't. So hopefully, some of the ones that I wanted to listen to last week come out pretty soon. Actually, one of the bands released another single, so maybe that's a good step in the direction of it's going to come out soon. But but yeah, so
yeah, but it has been kind of a strange couple of weeks though, because last week the album I was going to review it didn't come out.
There was 5 last week. It didn't come out.
There was between the two of us there were a good half a dozen that were listed that were slated to be released that didn't show up. So it was kind of strange. I mean, everything is always subject to change,
right?
But being that amount is a little out of the ordinary.
They can't use that. I got that copyrighted, man. They can't do so.
That's right.
Old wrestling joke.
That's right.
Anyway, kicking into album reviews, I actually found this one on YouTube and then went back to Spotify and looked it up, and it was there. So I don't know why it was not listed on the list of stuff here. No, actually, I was going to go back and make sure I didn't overlook it. Yeah, it's not listed on the Heavy HQ's list, so not sure why, but what? Nonetheless, I'm glad I have a little backup there to come off of with YouTube sometimes. So this band's called the Lightbringer of Sweden. Not sure why they're the Lightbringer of Sweden. Maybe it's some. We can talk to them, get them on the show, and ask them. But maybe there's other Lightbringer bands out there. I don't know. Maybe they're a cult and there's a Lightbringer of Norway. And anyway, this album was called The New World Order. It's kind of all in lowercase letters, which was kind of interesting to me too. So but the Lightbringer of Sweden is a power metal band out of course, Sweden. It'd be kind of funny if they were out of anywhere else, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty weird.
They've been around since 2017, so fairly new band. Not a lot of experience there behind them, I don't guess. But I kind of also was wondering if any of the members have been, and some of the members have been in other bands, but they were, they still weren't like older bands like I would think, like Sabotage, like, you know what I mean? But and the reason I bring that band up, you'll know in a minute. But anyway, the current lineup is Lars Ing on guitars and from 2017 until present. Tobbe Jansson, drums, 2019 and to present. Herbie Langhans, vocalist from 2019 to present. Ulf Nilsson, bassist from 2021 to present. And then Karsten Stepanowitz, lead guitars from 2021 to present. So looks like they may have started out and then may have had to go through a little bit to find their lineup before they released anything. Looks like so. This is their second album. Their first album, Rise of the Beast, was out in 2020. So they've only had the 2 albums since their inception. So this is the band. Like I said, this is the band's second full-length album. 10 songs, 56 minutes, 53 seconds. So a little bit lengthy, but kind of power metal, right into power metal.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off with saying this. Power metal has some of the best guitar tandems in metal, I think. I'll give them that credit because some of the guitar tandems that we know of in power metal are pretty badass. So, some of the guitar work that some of these guys do is freaking amazing. And this one, this band's no different. They got some amazing guitar work, and they showcase it with some lengthy solos in here. Not the little 10 30-second solos or anything like that. I mean, they're pretty intense. You got like a 7-minute song and 1:30 of it's a solo. So so it's and it's almost like the 2 guitarists are in like a battle. So they're like guitar battling each other or something. It's actually pretty cool. And I think the vocals weren't as a traditional power metal to me as I'm accustomed to listen to when I listen to a power metal band. Very like Sabaton like, I think. Maybe even like to try to put a spin on it to metal, an older metal band like Don Dokken kind of reminded me of some Don Dokken a little bit. Right. So to try to mix, try to take John Oliva and Don Dokken and all that and kind of mash it together. And I think that's kind of what you get. Longhorns that definitely got some range, kind of like John Oliva too. And the drumming was damn good. I think overall, man, I think it's going to be strange for you to hear me say this, but to praise power metal band, but here we are. So, but I'm definitely giving this one 4 horns, man. I actually enjoyed this one, so definitely wanted to go check out.
Nice.
Yeah, I might even check out that older one too, just to.
And this was Lightbringer of Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lightbringer. And what was the name of it again? Sorry.
The New World Order.
The New World Order.
Mm-hmm.
We're not about to make that same mistake. 4 horns out of 5. Very nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, if it be a power metal album, I'm not the biggest power metal fan, so but definitely they definitely are not a traditional power metal band, but I can see where they could be categorized that way. So,
well, that's cool. And the funny thing is some of these power metal bands, especially like the newer ones, because you said this band formed in 17?
17. Yeah, 17.
17. So it's a newer band, only 5, maybe going on 6 years old. You may start to hear, because even Sabaton to this day, even right now, even with their last album that came out last year, they're still considered a power metal band. Their sound is kind of evolved. They're kind of
I think so too. Yeah.
So power metal as a subgenre may be going through a little bit of a metamorphosis, and I kind of like what I'm hearing so far. So that could be heading in a good direction, which would be fine. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just because it didn't have a lot of the operatic stuff that you're used to when you think power metal. Right. I think that may be one, but
yeah. Now symphonic metal is always going to be different, right, because symphonic metal, that's obviously with it being even in the name of the subgenre, is always going to be a crucial element of it. My only knock against symphonic metal is always when the symphonic part kind of overrides the metal part, because sometimes there have been some bands who,
like a polka band.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. When you add the symphonic element to it, it becomes a balancing act. And sometimes there's been some groups that, at least with an album in particular, they kind of, aren't able to really find that good balance. Of course, at least to me. So symphonic metal is a little bit more of a balancing act. Power metal is usually a little more straightforward with, just with the description of the subgenre in general. It's a little bit more straightforward, so, which is nice. You usually know what you're going to get.
Right.
The album that I listened to is kind of a little bit strange, because it was on the list. I found it. It actually came out on the 17th. It didn't come out on the 20th, but so it did come out this week. I listened to The Last Judgment by Tension Rising. It's actually an EP. It wasn't listed as an EP on Heavy Music HQ, but Encyclopedia Metallum has it listed as an EP. It's only 6 tracks long and 30 minutes and 46 seconds. So it's on the borderline of an EP LP. So it's on the borderline. Tension Rising, they're a heavy metal band. They were formed in New York in 2008. They are a 3-piece. So we were, you and me and Victor, we were talking about 3-piece bands last week. So they are a 3-piece. They consist of Alex Rakin on guitars, Chris Garrigan on rhythm guitar and lead vocals, and Alex Rapetti on bass and backing vocals. Like I said, this is an EP. They do have 2 LPs. Their self-titled debut came out in 2014, and Penumbra, their second LP, came out in 2020. So this is an LP, and I almost didn't listen to the whole thing because the very first track was an instrumental, and I was kind of worried that the entire thing was going to be instrumental. But I kept listening to it, and that was not the case. Tracks 2 through 6, are normal songs with vocals and all that good shit. The entire theme of the album is like the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Track number 1, like I say, the instrumental was called An Unsuspecting World. Track 2 was called Conquest. Track 3 was called War. Track 4 was Famine. Track 5 was Death. And track 6 was Apocalypse. So the entire theme of the album is the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, the end of the world, Revelations, all that stuff. It had obviously it had a dark tone to it. It had a little bit, like vocally, it had a little bit of a metalcore vibe to it. At some point, the vocals were a little more aggressive. It kind of alternated from clean to aggressive vocals. So the aggressive vocals had a little bit more of a metalcore sound. The clean vocals had a little bit of like a little bit of a Matt Heafy Trivium kind of vibe to them. So between that and the metalcore style vocals, you had a really nice mix of clean vocals, aggressive vocals. I wouldn't say that the tempo was slow, but I also wouldn't say that it was like super duper up tempo either. So it was kind of a mid tempo album all the way through. And in keeping with the theme of the album, every song began and ended and flowed into the next with like the sound of a horse running and like neighing and everything. So that was kind of annoying. It was a little annoying in and of itself, but in keeping with the theme of the album, it actually made sense. Even though I was like, all right, enough with the horses, just keep going. So I get where they were going with the inclusion of the horses, with the lead in and the lead out, going from one song to the next. So basically, more or less, every track kind of blended into the next. So kind of by default, it was like a 30.5-minute one song, really. It was just like, it was kind of like telling a story with different chapters. So overall, I like the aesthetic of it sonically. I like the way the songs were composed. I'm going to give it 3 horns out of 5, and I think that may be a little unfair. So I think I'm probably going to bump it up to 3.5. Because I did like I say, the way the album was put together. So I'm going to give it 3.5 instead of 3, like I initially did. Because I think talking about it, talking it out now, I think it may have been a skosh unfair. So I'm going to bump it up another half horn and give it 3.5 out of 5. So it's like I say, it was a quick listen, 30 minutes, 46 seconds, not that bad. Of course, at the time I was expecting an LP. That's probably why I think it was a little bit of an easier listen. I think if I would have gone in knowing that it was listed as an LP, I'd have been like, wow, this is a little long for an LP. So I guess it's all a matter of perspective. But yeah, not too bad. So that was Tension Rising with The Last Judgment. So
all right. And what do we got for next week?
Good Lord, what we got next week? Without counting,
and then we probably got an EP that's not on there. So.
Probably, yeah, probably. Without going through and actually counting, this Friday coming up, this could possibly be one of the longest, if not longest, list I've seen on this website since we've started. So for Friday, January 27th, this upcoming Friday, starting off with Anachronism with Meanders. We have And Oceans with As in Gardens, So in Tombs. We have Anzilu with Ex Nihilo, Arctic Rain with Unity, Ashen Horde with Antimony, Bizarre Cult with Den Tapt Kriegen, Bragging Rights with The Dower, Cancervo with 2, Caravella Escarlate with 3. We have Cerbera with Cendre, Conjureth with The Parasitic Chambers, Critical Defiance with No Life Forms, Crown with Operation Phoenix, Davar with Delirious Rites, Dead Will Walk with A New Way of Dawning, that is an EP, Devil's Whiskey with Historias de Muerte. We have Die Oberon with Die by My Hand, Dismal with Via Entis, Dokken with the Elektra albums 83 through 87 box set, Dust Prophet with One Last Look Upon the Sky, Electric Mob with To Make You Cry and Dance, Amorosa with Sting, Flideus with Pathogen, Free Road with Do What You Feel, Giant Sleep with Grounded to the Sky, Girish and the Chronicles with Back on Earth, Girl School with The School Report 78 to 2008, Heavy Blanket with Moon, Hellproof with Supernova, Hell's Satans with a self-titled album, Holocaust with Heavy Metal Mania, The Complete Recordings Volume 1, 1980 through 1984, Hour of Penance with Misotheism, that's a re-release, Inherits the Void with The Impending Fall of the Stars, Iron Void with 4, Killer with Hellfire, King Kraken with MCLXXX. That's Roman numerals. And I'm not really good with my Roman numerals, so someone will have to kind of fill me in what that means. Hold on 1 second. I just got to know. MCLX
2030
XX Roman. Let's see what it says. MCL, it's 1970. Okay, so MCLXXX is 1970. We have Nagyarn with Mera Bedavning. That is an EP. We have Little Pig with a self-titled album. Live Sin with Kali Yuga. Love Gang with Mean Streak. Magic Opera with Battle of Ice. Malice Divine with Everlasting Ascendancy. Malleus with The Fires of Heaven. Mask of Prospero with Hiraeth. Methane with Kill It With Fire. Mono Incorporated with Raven Black. Myth of Origin with Sane Asylum. We have Nephilim's Noose with Blood Chants of Impiety. New Miserable Existence with Philosophy of Pessimism, or Philosophy on Pessimism, I'm sorry. Well, Obelisk with Ultimate Grace of God. Nixilis with Abhorred. Ominous Scriptures with Rituals of Mass Self-Ignition. Oozing Wound, can't wait to see that album cover with We Cater to Cowards. Pelican with City of Echoes, that's a re-release. Phoebus the Night with Pharaoh, Realm Kingdom with Monarch. Raven Light with Immemorial. Rigor Sardonicus with Preparat Bellum. Ronnie Romero with Raised on Heavy Radio. Sarcasm with As Empires Decay. Shavat with Chronican Ut de Neville. Steer of the Void with Mantra Monolith. Sequestrum with Pickled Preservation. Serotonin Syndrome with Seed of Mankind. Seven Doors with Feast of the Repulsive Dead. Sightless Pit with Lockstep Blood War. Siglos with Rituales Sagrados, that is an EP. We have Soen with 2 re-releases, Cognitive and Tellurian. Sonic Poison with Eruption. Sorrowful Land with Faded Anchors of the Past. Steve Vai with Vi/Gash. Super Terrestrial with The Fathomless Decay. Swayshon with The Infinite. The Tangent with Pyramid Stars and Other Stories. The Tangent live recordings from 2004 to 2007. Third Eye with Vengeance Fulfilled. We have Thornspawn /Maledictus with a split album. Torso with a Crash Course in Terror. Trastorned with Into the Void. Uranium with An Exacting Punishment. Uriah Heep with Chaos and Color. The World is Quiet Here with Sun. XL Life with The Boogie Down South. And last but not least, Zombie Rot with World Epitaph. So definitely no shortage of albums to listen to next week. So
then, of course,
how many
our good friends Meditator has a EP coming out next week too.
Yes, they do. They absolutely do.
Something I'm looking forward to. I like that band. So
yeah, we got to meet them at the Slamming in the Sticks. So
yeah.
Cool band.
Yeah. All right, awesome.
I had to kind of catch my breath there a little bit.
That's
a really long list.
And says a week is on. So I think that's when I was following along, you actually had some on there that I didn't refresh. So you have some listed there that I didn't have when I initially logged into heavy music this week. So
yeah, I think that list actually got longer than from when I looked at it last week. I think there have been some additions, so which is always good.
Well, yeah, more the merrier. So
absolutely.
All right, well, I guess we will wrap this bad boy up this week. Almost at 3 hours, so
just about.
That's crazy. There was a lot of stuff to cover this, so it wasn't surprising. Wasn't surprising. So
nope.
Do want to remind everybody that next week on the show we have our first guest of 2023. Spillage will be here to talk with us about what they got upcoming, and show whatnot they have planned out for this year already. So, we were at the Metal Devastation Festival last year, so we got to meet those guys. So, very interesting band. I think everybody will enjoy the conversation. It's gonna be a little bit of different band than what we're used to too. So it's going to be be a pretty interesting conversation, I think. So.
Oh yeah, it's always we always look forward to our guests, but yeah, this is going to be, like you said, it's going to be. How would you describe them? Quirky, nuanced. I mean,
they're very funny guys too. So it should be a really good conversation. So
yeah, it's going to be fun.
They have a lot of milestones to talk about, so it's going to be really cool. But anyway.
Yep, but before we go, I want to just remind everybody of all the places where you can find us. We have the mothership, VOPUSAradio.com, the VOPUSA Radio app. We have our YouTube channel. You can follow us on TikTok. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter. Let's see what else we got.
Twitch.
Yeah, we got Twitch. We got I mean, there's many places where VOP goes out. So you'd be really hard pressed to go to a podcast streaming platform and not find VOP USA Radio, which is very, very cool. And then we have Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com. We have an email address. We have Patreon that's still up and running, even though it's not active at the moment. We are going to be getting a new email address. I don't know if it's going to be a second email address. I don't know what we'll do email wise, but
we'll kind of discuss that, I guess. But
yeah, we'll let you guys. We will let you guys know about that when it happens. Want to remind.
Well, it's already active. It's Metalheads Unite at VOPUSARadio.com.
Well, there you go. All right, so that works out. So yeah, it's active and ready. So thank you to Ace for that. And then
Ace,
do want
I just want to say this before we go. We give everybody props on this show, but I want to say thanks to Ace because she sent me an email earlier in the week. I know we were already working on our logo, but man, she sent out some really good graphics ideas for the show, and I appreciate her going out and doing that for us. That's
we really
big help. Big help. So
yeah, we couldn't, we wouldn't have this show the way it's set up now without Ace and without Dan and without Tiff and without everybody. So, and she did go beast. She did go beast mode. There was a bunch of them on there, and I thought, man, they were all cool too. So it was not a so Jackie, Dan, and me. Okay, well, thanks to Jackie too. Thank you to everybody.
I know Jackie was kind of behind the scenes with you guys. Awesome. We definitely appreciate anything that you guys do for us. So.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Yeah, Victor, thanks for coming by, buddy. Always good to see you. Always good to hear from you. Kind of be on the lookout for your playlist collaboration invite. I'll send you one like I normally do. And then thanks for our friend Andy for coming by. Appreciate it. And obviously to Ace and everybody at VOP for hanging out. Thanks to Dan for getting the show started this morning. Got to try to weed through some technical things here, so we'll try to get that figured out. But yeah, for everybody who wants to come on by and become a member of the Facebook group, we are over at Facebook. If you guys are watching the show today, obviously the little thumbnail is the one you're going to be looking for the Facebook group. So I mean, there's really no place you can't find VOP USA Radio and all of our great shows. Mine, my brother's, Dan's, everybody's shows. So
get the VOP USA Radio app and listen to all of it. So
yep, you can take all of the VOP USA Radio shows on the go with you. You absolutely can. So
all right, well, with that, we will wrap everything up today. Thanks everyone for stopping in and dropping by and listening today. So I thought Dan was going to say something. He popped in. I guess he's just popping in to close us out.
Probably.
I almost said something. Almost.
But we appreciate everybody. Appreciate Dan for getting us going today. So hopefully we'll get that all worked out. Oh, he appeared.
I told you got to get William Savant and Sepsis back on. We need to have another, whatever it is that we do.
Well, actually, they're working on new music, so hopefully once they get that going, we'll definitely have them back on to promote that. So
that would be good. I think they posted that the new single comes out middle of March, so I'd like to have them back on around then. So
that would be good.
Because they've been doing. That is one band that does not fucking rest on any laurels. God, those guys. I follow them on Facebook and everything and Instagram. They are busy. Man, they are busy.
They're not gonna not make it by lack of promotion. That's for damn sure. So
that is 100% for sure. So
they're friggin' everywhere, man. Constantly on Facebook, on Twitch, with the constant streams, with the just everything, just the swarmy exclusive stuff. They just keep going and going and going.
Yeah, they
it's
do.
Pretty badass.
Yeah, Melissa and William are always all over everything.
Yep.
Yeah,
How many members you got in your Facebook group now?
491.
491, I believe.
In
our Facebook group. 491.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Hang on a second. I can actually check that real quick. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say we've kind of stalled out a little bit, but I guess we've kind of stalled out a little bit. But let's see. Hang on. Yes, 491 members in the Facebook group right now. Yes.
We got to get that shit up. Come on now.
Yeah, those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up.
Right. Right. Considering you're heard by over 1 million now every single show. I mean, come on. We got to do better than that. Got to call out the people there.
Yeah. Which again, I mean, averaging 1 million a week is it's still just kind of mind blowing. So
you average 1.23 actually. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty freaking impressive. And you guys are definitely the torchbearers, if you will, for the alternative to me content. your brother's trying to play a little bit of catch up. He's done good, but you guys are definitely, you're the flagship for everything non-political, and you're right behind the Politishock. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's only gonna get better, so don't worry. We're launching on some new platforms next week too. So therefore, in turn,
nice.
so will you. That's right. Put in work.
All right.
So there you go.
If no one can say that Dan Smeriglio doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
He's working while he's working. So
he is.
This is true. This is true. Usually I'm being counterproductive somehow, some way. But yes,
he probably put together all that shit on a plane ride to Florida one day or something. So
yeah, he probably did.
No comment.
Good old Jacksonville, Florida. Good old Jacksonville.
Shithole.
That would be the best thing to happen on this trip if he did put something together on it, probably. So.
Pretty much. Well, that is where the collective conversation happened with Jackie, Ace, and myself, and we were just like, "Yo, what about this?" And Jackie's doing all this stuff, and Ace and me are throwing out all these ideas. It probably would have been right to like, "Hey, let's loop in the guys," but it was like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, literally all those hours, and so they're like, "That would look badass. That would look badass." Totally not our decision, but wanted to give you shit to pick from, But like, yeah. So that was probably the best part of the Florida trip because everything in Florida sucks.
So just so you know, I'm the night guy, so I'm always up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So.
That's good to know. I'm gonna start looping your ass in.
So I actually, we work 4 to 4. We work 4:30 in the evening to 4 in the morning. So I'm usually
okay.
I'm usually up 4 in the morning. Then I hit the gym till and then get back home by 6 and do it all over again. So
we just never sleep. So,
right.
Yeah, it's kind of what we do.
I haven't got bit by the vampire yet, so I'm still having to sleep. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll shut the hell up now. Sorry, I was jotting down some new music ideas. So thank you.
No.
And
Dan, man, you were obviously your invitation is open ended as always.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Speaking of new music, if you want any new music, pretty much the playlists the last couple of weeks have been all new music, so it's nothing that you haven't heard before. So
I know
there's a lot of new stuff coming out. So yeah, I know you probably don't loop all that stuff in on your little rides and stuff. So which Chris does too. I don't commute anymore, so I don't get to listen to it as often as I used to. So
it's true.
Yeah, so I have to like from here to town. I listen to this. Other than that,
well, you got to drown out Florida somehow. So
no, that's true.
Well, that's why when I take my long road trips, especially when another Ohio one is coming, and I got to drive 9 hours one way. That's my time.
Oh, man.
That's when I need to shut off the work bullshit, get lost in music. Yes, that's my zen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, And don't worry, I'm gonna blow you guys up one day with some other bands that I found and some other music that I found because that's what I do. So
do it.
expect
Absolutely.
We're always down. We're always down for that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
As I dig deep.
our Dana and Victor, they're always pointing us in the right direction too, and vice versa. So yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that gets us on to bands, and then we kind of like, reach out to those guys if we like it that much, and they got like an extensive, kind of background that we can actually get them on here and talk about. Then that's kind of where we reach. That's kind of what we use to reach out to these guys. So
that's badass. Good site.
So anytime guys got suggestions, we're down for that. So
I definitely have some. Plus, March 22nd, I'm going up to New Haven, Connecticut, and I'm going to go to. I honestly can't keep track of how many hundreds of Dope shows this is, but Dope, Static X, Fear Factory, Mushroom Head.
Oh wow.
Whomever else. I got the VIP passes, so I'm going to be on the side of the stage and then get to hang out with the band and bring a guitar and everything else.
Dude.
Yes, I literally have nobody going with me yet, but I got the damn tickets and I got the damn passes. I'm like, fuck this. I'm turning 40 in January. It's time to treat myself to something, and I want to do that. So yeah. So
hell yeah,
I'm going to try to get some exclusive content for Metalheads. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Notpoint's actually doing a cool thing right now, which I wanted to do it, but I didn't have the money. That for $200 you can get a ticket to their tour bus. They put you on the tour bus, and they're actually letting you pick out. You're listening to their music that they're wanting to put on the next album, and you're picking it out for them.
That's
Holy
cool.
Shitballs.
Yeah, so the next album is going to be fan pick music. So
that's badass.
Yeah,
that's a
badass experience. So that's what they're doing with all their Emerald City tour right now. So that's what they're doing on all those stops. So if anybody wants to be involved in that, then there you go. So
you gotta love shit like that. I'm just for my stuff, I'm kind of curious because I saw obviously the Static X reunion show, and I did the VIP experience of Static X after the show. And of course, magically, the lead singer was not present. So I'm curious as to when the bus hangout is going to happen, or is it just going to be a potential just giveaway? Like, because I noticed when I saw Static X the last time, Dope played kind of early and got done kind of quicker than usual. And then, of course, magically, Zero appears. But I am, I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. Well, we know who Zero is now, but now
we do a double duty, which
Etzel hasn't made that a secret anymore. So
he's kind of, it's hard to deny, and I gotta say he does the Static X shit badass.
He really does.
That dude, I've loved Dope since when they broke. I saw them perform at an ECW house show in like 90.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I've been a fan of Dope for a long time too. Dope is super underrated.
Dope is dope.
They're fucking amazing. They're fucking amazing.
Super underrated.
So, but hearing him do the Static X shit, I mean, he's just fucking awesome. He pulls it off good. He really freaking does. So,
and we're getting new Dope music this year. So
Yes. Definitely
long awaited.
Forward to that. Yes. Hell yeah, long awaited.
You better believe it. I'm gonna shut up now. Sorry, I'll let you guys into your show. I gotta shut the fuck up.
We'll be going 5 hours with Dan on
right?
Yeah.
We're now
we'll have to cut it into segments like he does his show.
The fourth hour is brought to you by Hours 5 through 6 will be brought to you by Aftershock. Yes.
I know I listened to it one night while I was researching my show, and it was during the guy that got hurt with the Bills, and he was talking about that's something that needs to be touched upon. But I think the show got so far out, I don't think it ever got mentioned. But other than that, but he was going into like, he said, "Oh man, I'm going into hour number 4, so I gotta close this thing out." I'm like, damn.
Well, I think you're an hour behind me, right? So I think what we should do is Metalheads Unite after brunch.
After brunch.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Anyway. All right, I'm done.
Hey guys, well, we appreciate you guys stopping by, listening to us today, and hopefully we'll see you back here next week. Thanks to, like Nell said, thanks to Dan, thanks to Ace, thanks to everybody that was joining us in the chat today. We appreciate it. We always like the interaction. Wish there was more, but we could do some other things. We get a lot of chat interaction, which is one of the cool things.
It's gonna
one of the cool,
there.
Yeah, one of the cool things I see Decibel Geek do is a bracket brawl, and they always include the people in their chats, and they have a lot of people in their chats. So they've been doing this shit for like 10, 11 years, so they got a pretty good fan base along the way. So hopefully at some point we could do some stuff like that, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks you guys. I don't want to keep you any longer than we already have, so go on and carry out your day or night or wherever you are. So Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
But anyway, hopefully, guys, we'll see you back here next week. Until then, keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great week, everybody.